Dude, I remember there was a kid in high school, we all had to shower together in just a big room with a bunch of spigots and everything because you were sweaty.
You had to do that?
Yeah, they didn't make you shower, but I showered every day because I didn't want to go back to class and sit next to girls all day and smell like shit and be that guy. There was a dude I knew who like fancied himself a prankster, and this was not the Poop Bandit, Kyle and Woody. This is a different guy. And like we were talking about like prank stories and things at the lunch table one day, and he told us, he's like, dude, like he thought he was coming up with a real good one. He's like, dude, the other day, right after everybody else got out of the shower after gym, remember that? Yeah, I was the last one in there. I came. You're like, we were like, what? You masturbated right after we all left? He's like, yeah, dude. We're like, dude, that's fucking gay. Like, so you were like 5 yards through a wall from us, hearing us naked, and you beat off in there, and like,
you could still smell us, dude.
Dude, Ted, when does this become a prank?
So when my sister was little, I'm trying to think exactly how old she was. I was in the 7th grade. First of all, I was homeschooled between for 7th and 8th grade. Get that out of the way. I should have been in the 7th grade. So she's 2 years. She was in the 5th grade, however old that makes her. She was going to go to this horse camp where you ride horses and you eat lunch there, and it's a bunch of kids hanging out and having fun riding horses and learning how to ride horses. Well, we went to drop her off, and I was like, this shit looked like fun. I want to ride horses, so I went to the horse camp too. So, I liked it and everything, but she loved it. She's like, Dad, I got to have a horse. I got to have a horse. So went on, and a couple months later, Dad's like, all right, I'll get you a horse. So he gets her this horse named Dandy. And Dandy is a full-grown, like, purebred, beautiful fucking horse, supposedly trained well. All right? So
what kind of horse is it? Do you know?
I don't know. It was quite expensive, I'll say that.
It looked like a cowboy's horse, normal horse.
Clint Eastwood should have been riding this thing. It was beautiful. And so she's riding the horse, having fun on the horse, and everything's going well. You feed it sugar cubes and carrots and shit. It loves it. And all of a sudden she rides it about 100, 200 yards away from us, and then she turns it around and starts coming back to us. About halfway back to us, Dandy decided that he didn't like that little girl on his back at all. And he goes into fucking Bronco mode. I'm talking, this shit looked like something in the rodeo. He's jumping like 3 feet off the ground and bucking, and Kelly goes flying, falls on the ground, knocks the wind out of her. She's laying there gasping for breath. Well, there's only one thing to do now. Time to get the gun.
My God. Yeah, this horse. I'm so glad I'm not Kyle's horse at this point.
Hey, Dandy, you want an apple? Well, that apple was stuck on the end of an SKS, my friends.
Did she want the horse dead?
No, but Dad did.
Did he really shoot the horse in the face with an, like, you're being facetious at this point. That's not how he put the horse down.
He put an apple on the end of the SKS and waited till the horse went to bite it, and just before it bit it, he shot.
I'm surprised you didn't punch it to death.
Get on the back of that thing rear naked, choke it to down. Someone in the, I try not to talk about the stream, but I keep an eye on it, and somebody wrote, boom, headshot!
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Romans had cool names.
Sick fucking names.
Why can't we bring that back?
Black people have. I went to school with an Octavius.
Okay. Well, was his Octavius Flavius Caesar or whatever?
No,
or just...
no. He's dead now. He's dead now. And his that maybe it was just like my part of the world, but man, like I started elementary school with like 6 or 7 black guys. Only one of them graduated, and I know of like 3 of them that have died since then. One of them just died last week.
Farming accident?
Thresher.
Caught in a thresher.
Sucked into a thresher. Accident. He was thrown from his vehicle. He was ejected. He was DUI, fling, or something like that. The other one has been in prison since I was like 22, because him and his buddies, like somebody owed them some drug money, like some middling amount of money, like somebody owes you $70. I think you should go by like that movie, that gangster movie
Brooklyn Tales,
Bronx Tale. The guy owes him $20 and he's chasing him down the street, yelling at him, and the main gangster's like, hey, don't do that. Do you like that guy? It's like, nah, I can't stand him. Well, think about it this way. For $20, you'll never have to talk to him ever again. He's gone. He's out of your life. He's like, that's a good point. They should have said that about this $70 worth of drug money. Instead, this person I went to school with who was my age and two of his buddies kidnapped him. They rolled up next to it. And this is in small town Georgia, like farming community where I'm from. They roll up next to him on the sidewalk. He's with his girlfriend. And they have this ridiculous, they're armed like they're playing PUBG. All right. It looks like when you first land and everybody's got this mishmash. One of them has like an actual submachine gun, like a little Mac 10. One of them's got a one of them's got a shotgun. The other one has a hammer.
I like to think like PUBG. They're like, and one wore a pot as a helmet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's level one armor.
Frying pan. Yeah, so he pulls out the hammer, and so they grab him, throw him into the car, and they drive off. And it's like, this was 15 years ago, but cell phones existed. So his girlfriend just goes, yeah, Octavius Johnson just kidnapped my boyfriend and drove away in a silver Honda Civic. Yeah, they're in Livonia right now. Yeah, there's 3 of them in there. They had guns. Yep. All right, they go get them right away, of course. And the kidnapping is like a 25-year
big
offense.
Deal.
It's like third worst thing you can do behind like murder and rape is kidnapping. Like a lot of people don't know that. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
They and it wasn't one of those kidnappings where it's kind of like borderline where it's like, all right, nobody leave this room until we get this shit straightened out. You know, people can go, I was kidnapped. He wouldn't let me leave. Like this was like they scooped him up like they're the fucking mafia and drove off with him. They're still in prison. That was so long ago. I don't even remember the finer details of it. I don't remember what the other 2 guys' names were.
Serious crime. Yeah.
It was
very serious crime.
If it was their first crime,
it was.
Oh, if it was their first crime, I can almost be like, I think they didn't realize what they were doing was as bad as it was.
Oh, they definitely did not.
Dude, if your first foray into crime is at gunpoint kidnapping someone, you need to be put in jail because you're not going to go, oh, what was I thinking?
Now, what if that guy was robbing you and you decide to keep him?
Oh, well, if he was just robbing...
Right, and you say, well, he's a thief, so we should probably...
You're describing a citizen's arrest, Woody.
Share. Well, you think that, but then when you brand him, shave his head, maybe, scarlet letter of some sort.
I was reading my Bible last night. And
I just feel like in a situation like that, it's defense. It's not kidnapping.
Well... It was a defensive kidnapping.
Right?
I read you. Well, you don't kidnap people, but everybody, all those guys I went to school with, and like they had every opportunity. I don't know what happened, and it wasn't institutionalized racism for sure because like they had every opportunity. Like my mom was one of their teachers, and it was just like you couldn't do anything with those guys. It was definitely their home life.
Some people
just had a hard time. I think they had a hard home life, and that made them shitty, and that made them like have a real rough time. But like I said, I had a decent sized graduating class, and there were only 2 black people in it, and one of them, her mother was a teacher, and the other one just decided to. He was a football player, and he decided to like really buckle down his last 2 years of high school, and like got a mentor who was in the faculty and made it. But a lot of those guys didn't just not graduate, but they're dead. And like we're not from like some rough town. I'm like Chael Sonnen, it's one of I saw a guy just spit on the sidewalk, just walked away. Like
I feel like I almost know your town because I spent so much time in Hartwell. Mm-hmm. They're like sister towns.
Super similar, yeah.
Oh, I was thinking about I had a friend in high school, and friend is an exaggeration. We like sometimes ate lunch together and talked if we were next to each other, we'd talk, but we never hung out after school. And he was cool. He transferred to the school, and there were just aspects of him that made him cooler than the rest of us. Like his hair was spiked, and he had a jean jacket. And I don't know, he just had a vibe about him that was cool. I didn't think about it until way later, but he was a cutter. He used to like cut bad words into his forearm and shit. And now I look back, and I'm like, I bet that guy was fucked. Like I bet his home life was like I don't know. Like he used to just cut. I remember he wrote
I don't
bitch,
like that.
like in big letters on his forearm one time.
Oh, why would you do that? You're just
Wait, did he do it, or was someone torturing him, Woody?
I think he showed it to me. Like I
Like,
think it was a
this
call
is
for
cool.
help that I misinterpreted. Like if I could go back and replay that day, I would have told a guidance counselor or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you truly are a bitch.
I saw it and I was like, damn, like his pain tolerance is high too. It's like another cool thing I didn't know. Like that was my dumbass interpretation of it.
How old were you?
27.
27.
Nah, 12 or 13.
Yeah,
13
well, you
or
don't
14.
know at that age.
13
Like, who
probably.
fucking knows anything?
Yeah.
I don't like people who self-harm.
No,
It's not that I don't like them. It's just it makes me so uncomfortable, and I don't understand it myself. I'm really ignorant about it, and it just really rubs me the wrong way. I want them to stop. That's my main. Is stop.
Yeah, you got to be
Hey,
on
it's-
your own team. There's going to be people in this world who aren't on your side. You can't be one of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to
Everybody say
get
it.
far if the first roadblock you run into is you. Damn.
I don't even know how to tell the truth of it without sounding like an asshole. But what would happen is we would go to these like sand lots by the bay or ocean or something, and people would drink. And then sometimes a group of like 12 black people would just come and beat up white people. And that's what
They
he got.
just would like show up and attack white people.
Yeah. And
What the
like,
fuck?
everyone would split and run. And he got hit for being white.
That's pretty fucked up. For a bunch of people to just show up and start fights.
Really? You think that's fucked up? I think that's adolescent fucking men, right? Like that is.
No,
that is-
but I mean
that's
that,
what
that
happens.
behavior.
I had my
that
job. broken for
behavior
exactly
in-
the
You
same thing,
remember
right?
when we were kids, Taylor? We'd hunt the Mexicans down and beat them. Remember?
We'd bring them down and we'd fuck them up. Yes, we would.
Yeah, it got to be
Yeah.
a thing. Like I remember the football team and wrestlers were like, you know what? Let's hang out together, and next time they come, we're not running. And like, they were better.
Damn.
You should have got
That's-
the archery team on board for that.
Yeah, right.
Your rich ass high school.
the marksman team.
Fucking blot out the sun.
Yeah, the swim team wasn't involved in that coalition.
See, they
Turns
should
out
have.
dance and
could've
swim
pulled
team
that
were off
throw
that
a
night.
punch, let alone throw a
could
ball.
have lured these men into water.
No,
then
you know,
the swim team emerges.
They don't even do it themselves. They're
When
like
they
talking to
saw
the
my
dolphins.
shaven leg-
Can I tell a pornography story?
No, it's inappropriate.
Oh, my mistake. I'm like 10 years old or something, and I discover my father's massive cache of pornography, right? And they threw it away. He had Playboy magazines that I'll describe as like 30 inches tall, right? That's how many Playboys he had. And all right, fine. I get them. I pick off like half a dozen that are now mine, right? The rest we let them get thrown away, and now they're mine. And I think my friend or so, I had some older friends who were like 14 or something, and I'm maybe 10. And he eventually asked me, what do you do with the pornography, right? I'm a long way from coming at this point. I'm 10, so I'm a good like 6 years away. So he describes to me what he does with pornography, and it fucks up my head for an awful long time before I realize he's not really doing it right either, because he would roll up the magazine into a cylinder and use that and put his dick in it and like jerk off. Like he's not even seeing the magazine at this point. He's just turning it into some sort of vagina that doesn't work very well.
I want this guy on the show. I thought your
This guy
stories
is
were
a
fucked up.
serial killer now.
This guy is still to this day like he can't look at a Cosmo without getting hard. He's like, I just want to roll you up and yeah,
Yeah.
oh, that's good binding. Oh,
and
my-
I don't know. I'm like 15 or so, and it's like, but doesn't he get paper cuts? Like it seems like he's doing this wrong. And
you want only glossy for me, Mr. Woody. Only glossy for me.
Did you call him and tell him that he was doing it wrong when you figured it out finally?
No, I moved from like one part of New Jersey to another. We weren't friends anymore.
Once he figured out the right way.
I wonder if I
He
can find
definitely
him on
was-
Facebook. I do know his name.
I was going through some of my dad's Playboys with my friends at about the same age. And one of my friends turned to us and said, yeah, but that's not how nipples work. That's not how nipples look.
Like he was the only one who had gotten any action of us at that age. And he said, yeah, but that's not how they look. And we found out like 10 years later that his girlfriend at the time had inverted nipples. So he thought that all these, where he thought they were all Photoshop or were, I guess, airbrushed at the time to look like that. But stumped us for years. Like, why did he say that?
Man, she pulled off quite a hoax where she took her top off for the first time and he didn't say anything. And she was like in the clear. Like, he's not gonna
this is normal.
I found a pornographic VHS tape in a junkyard, like behind the seat of a pickup truck. My dad would go to the junkyard regularly. Like he liked to fix up cars, so we'd be there looking at like old crash classic cars and stuff. And I, as like a 10-year-old fucking like thief, would go around and like steal like the change out of them. I figured it's a wrecked car in a junkyard. They didn't just like get trucked in today. They've been sitting out there for a month. So I'm on the lookout for quarters, right? And I'd like to go through it's fun to go through the consoles of these cars and see what's in there. Because if there was a crash, a lot of times the car just gets hauled off and auctioned away. Like the person doesn't spend time like looking at them.
I've been in that situation, never saw the car again. Sometimes
there's blood, which like kind of, it sounds a little fucked up, but it's like, oh, look at this. Something bad happened in this one. Sometimes if it was a fat guy driving and he gets rear-ended, if you think about the physics involved, he's driven backwards by that rear impact. And so the seat would get bent backwards in a really weird way. You could always tell. The fat guy got rear-ended. Look, you could tell. And anyway, I'm going through this Chevrolet pickup truck and I look behind the seat and there's a VHS tape. Give me head. And I don't even know what head means. So I read it as heed. Like give me heed.
So you didn't even read the word right at all.
No, I didn't. But
there is no HEAD that's pronounced heed.
No, I know there's not. No, I thought I'd found it. I thought I discovered the first one. But like give me head just didn't compute. Like what did that even mean? And so I had it. And I took it home and popped that bad boy in. And I had that thing for years. I had that thing stowed away. I don't even remember where I used to keep it. Oh, I think I kept it like in the sleeve of something else, like way in the back of where I kept my normal VHS tapes and stuff like that. But that was all I had for like until the internet came out. Until there was internet.
All you had was give me heed until the internet.
And as the name would suggest, it's nothing but blowjobs. It's nothing but blowjobs. You'd see a little pussy, but there was no penetration. It was all blowjobs. And to this day, I'm like, who is this guy who only wanted the blowjob tape and kept it behind the seat of his truck?
Yeah, you never know when you're gonna roll into a truck stop where the HBO is out.
Did anyone else watch the scrambled porn?
What's that, Woody?
Anyone else watch scrambled porn? Like, did you?
Oh, hell yeah. The Spice Channel. 50, stare at that motherfucker for hours late on Saturday nights trying to see a tit. And every once in a while, it's just green gobbledygook, like worse than the Matrix. And every once in a while, you'd get 3 or 4 frames of tits bouncing across the game like, oh, yeah, that was worth 2 hours. I'm going to sit here mining for pornography for another 3 hours.
That's what it was like.
I remember like every time that the Girls Gone Wild infomercial would come on when I was younger. Like if I saw it and I was alone, I'd be like, I can make this work. I even knew like it was something like because it was like 6 minutes long or so. It was like a 6-minute long infomercial, and then like you hear the steel drums, and then you're like Dick, like fucking one of Pavlov's dogs perks up, and then. Like there was also a point in there where it was like when the girl got on the bus towards the end of the spot where I was like, I got to get this done. We're in the final minute countdown, and so I had to get it all done in the middle of the Girls Gone Wild thing. But
dude, I had a friend who bought that
earlier. It was saying about being Woody. You were saying he fucked a magazine. Did you guys ever get told other things about masturbating or sex incorrectly that you didn't figure out later? Because I had a kid. I was on the opposite side of Woody, where I was masturbating long before most of my peers because I matured much faster. And I remember sitting at lunch in like 7th grade, and this dude was like, we were talking about masturbating, and I was like, I don't remember how it got brought up, but he started describing how he does it, and we all just like looked at him like a maniac. We're like, that's not how you masturbate, dude. And he's like, well, I'm coming. You're telling me it doesn't work? Coming.
I've
what
heard
he did
from a lot of guys. Yeah, go ahead.
He grabbed his dick tight, and then like he was like trying to win in a mini game in a Mario Party, go like this and rub on his palm. And he's like, dude, it feels so good on the head of your dick. And like, but the rest of it just masturbate. And he's like, nah, dude, you guys are missing out. And like, I still know him to this day. No one's ever brought it up.
I have heard from so many guys who learned how to jerk off weird by like humping their wrist or so, like guys who will confess it in the subreddit, and then a doctor or somebody will come along and say, you're going to fuck up your dick if you keep jerking off like that. Like, do it normally, but they can't because they've been doing it for so long like that. Like, dude, some kind of intervention program where a guy like you, Taylor, just goes from school to school for every day and like, look, this is how you do it. Well, yeah, but what if I do it like this? Don't fucking do it like that. That's wrong.
Hey,
Nobody let him.
Kids, let's just go ahead and take all our pants off. All right, everybody take your pants off. Penis is out, everyone. Girls on the left side of the room, boys on the right.
I do remember trying to figure it out, and I've told this story before, but I was Penthouse Letters, right? I don't know, back in the day before the internet was the thing. Penthouse, Playboy, and Penthouse Letters for some reason captured my imagination. There were still some pictures in it, but it was basically these ridiculously fake, although I didn't know it at the time, stories about sexual encounters. And at one point, now I don't know how to masturbate at this point, but I'm trying to figure it out. I don't even know if I'm capable, right? Maybe I was. I just didn't know it. I wasn't very good at it. But at one point, they described that I think the woman's wrist brushed the penis and sent electrical chills down his spine. So I'm like, well, this is a clue. so you got you, and I'm just like,
let's get something to this.
Kind of not electrical, I don't think. but yeah, so that was a thing.
You would think in your household, getting shockingly exposed to so much sex that you'd be the kid in school who's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you how this thing works.
Yeah, you're going to get tennis elbow doing that, kids. Let me show you how the pros handle it. No, yeah, you would think so, but actually they never taught me how to masturbate.
When in high school, one of the teachers was having an affair with one of the coaches. And the teacher was the mother of a student who was my age and my friend. And they got caught in the act in school, in his office, and it spread like wildfire. And then the mother of my friend got a divorce, and I knew his dad, and it was a debacle. He was a cool guy. He was a popular guy. So nobody gave him shit about it, and nobody really talked about it openly or anything. No one ever made fun of him at all about it, but it was a known thing that, yeah, like Miss so-and-so was fucking coach, blah, 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 in his fucking office, and Larry walked in and caught him, and then he told on him, and then they both got in trouble with management, and she lost her job, and then her husband divorced her. It was a whole thing.
Himself.
There was a known thing at my high school. There was a guy, and they threw a party at his house. It was a smaller party, I'll say 15 people there, and they were like the coolest kids. And apparently, like, the girls were all getting misbehaving and showing boobs or whatever, and the guy's mom joined in, and people saw her boobs. I misinterpreted the situation as thinking that guy's mom was super cool, right? But he was very sensitive about this. She drank, and she was very sensitive. He did not like that his mom embarrassed him like that in front of people, and it became sort of, it got hushed up. No one talked about it. No one wanted to hurt him because it was hurtful.
I have the opposite story. I have the opposite story. You say no one embarrassed him about it. No one wanted to hurt him. There was a kid, Harley.
Jeez, Kyle.
Harley doesn't watch. Harley's mom was a stripper, and she would strip at this local biker bar, which I ended up later in life like going to a ton, and like playing poker. They had like a sketchy poker game there, like a cash game. And like I'd noticed, like if you'd sit in the booths along the wall, there were like pictures of chicks, flashing and stuff in the bar, right? They take Polaroids and like nail them up on the wall. It was that kind of joint. I don't even think they had a liquor license. And one of the kids, this guy who was like, I don't know, 45, but still in the 12th grade or something like that. He was like, yeah, I saw your mama strip at the flats. I saw her strip up there last night. Your mama got some nice titties. And just, it was awful. It was so awkward to be. I wanted to melt away. I was like, I'm glad my mama doesn't strip at the flats because that's humiliating.
What kind of strip club is called the Flats?
It's not a strip club. It's a bar at a it's a place where like there's two hills and they go down and there's a flat area and that place is called the Flats and it's like a little biker bar.
So she took her titties out just for the fuck of it? Like
No,
she just
she's
took
a
her tits
stripper.
out?
She stripped in the bar and people gave her monies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, it would be impossible to talk shit as a high schooler to anyone if at any point they could be like, hey, after school I may just go have your mom's tits on my face. How would you like that?
Yeah.
You couldn't talk shit. You couldn't.
And then a girl I was friends with worked at the local grocery store. She's like, yeah, I've seen Harley's mom come in. She pays with ones.
Very sticky ones.
What are you doing with the ones before you give them? Never mind.
Well, it's where you put the ones when you give them.
Oh, okay. I literally thought like, do people ejaculate on their singles before they stuff them in the bikini? Like that just doesn't even make sense. You guys are crazy.
Yeah, they roll them up into a tube and then jerk off with them, Woody. That's why you sit right next to the stage. That's what the champagne room is for.
Oh, is
you
that
go
what
back
happens
and
in the
jack
champagne
off in all
room?
your money, then you come out and throw it in singles. At the strippers.
Now it all makes sense.
Yeah, that's like your like only real way to touch a stripper at a reputable place is when you tuck the money into her panties or her bra or whatever. It's kind of a fresh way to like
you can just briefly touch her belly with the back of your finger.
Yeah. Well, you keep going farther and farther.
Act like that's nothing, Woody.
It's not.
A woman could graze your dick with her wrist, and you're into it. I could feel a lot with the back of my knuckles, sir. If I've been staring at it for an hour, don't act like that's not worth $1.
I did a survey on Twitter last night, and I said, your child spills a perfectly good glass of milk. Do you, A, beat with stiletto heels, B, beat with an ice scraper, or C, loudly fuck so the children can hear? And we got a couple thousand responses, folks.
I'm going to guess stiletto one because that's the most famous option.
All of the above.
I didn't include in all of the above. I wanted to force the segmentation between these three options. Now, beat with stiletto heels and beat with ice scraper both tied at 22% of the 1,600 or 1,700 responses. 56% said loudly fuck so the children can hear.
Oh, God.
And I bet that happened more often, right? Little passive-aggressive fucking. You disrespect me. I'm about to go get plowed by your dad. How you like that?
It really is an all of above kind of scenario, though, Taylor, because what you don't understand is a good child beating really puts Mrs. Woodworth in the mood.
Oh, God, I'm getting hot. Honey?
Man, I broke a glass. Did I tell this story already? I broke a glass in the kitchen. I did? Did I just tell it?
No,
I want it. I want this.
Yeah.
I'm thirsting for this.
This was like 2.5 weeks ago. And I'm barefoot. So, like, it's a problem, right? It's fallen and it's scattered in 100 different directions. It's not like it's two pieces. So I call in Jackie, and whatever, it's the division of labor in our house. She's the kind of person that would clean up broken glass on a kitchen floor. So anyway, she comes in, and without thinking about it, I position like the kitchen island between me and Jackie. And I'm like, I broke this. I didn't mean it. I knocked it over. It was me. But, like, can you help me? And she's like, yeah. And she's cleaning it up. And I'm just like I said, we've got this big kitchen island with like a granite top. And I'm standing and as she moves around, I'm moving around, like to make sure that she can't get to me. And she's like, this is okay, Like, you don't have to. Like, you're hiding from me. And I'm like, I am hiding from you. She's like, you're so scarred over this. Like, this is not a big deal. Like, it's okay. I'm not even mad. And I'm like, whew, what a relief. Like, I don't know. I had
This
like
is some dark shit.
Dude, that's really funny, but it's also like genuinely sad.
Yeah,
Like
and it's
your
funny.
parents beat a fear of little minutia. You broke a glass. Like Jesus Christ.
I literally hid from her, right? I mean, I like Jackie a lot, but I could fuck her up. And
Yeah.
and yeah, it's true to this day, and it made me think of like I guess I'll just say it. Sometimes Boogie often talks about his rough childhood and the impact that it had on him today, and I often am like, I had a rough childhood, but I'm 45. I think he's really close to my age, whatever he is.
He hears a belt snap and he just devours 3 Twinkies.
But I'm usually like, dude, like we are way too old to blame our parents for our current behavior. Yet there I was hiding over a broken glass 2.5 weeks ago.
That's so scarring. Like, I wonder what you're like. I would. You really need to sit down with a therapist. I would pay. We always talk about the money we would pay to watch the Wings of Redemption reality show, where like a professional reality show production team comes in and they stir up the drama, they film all the angles, they get all the characters established, etc. I'd pay so much more money for like a Dr. Phil special with you and your parents and your brother, and Jackie. Jackie's gotta be there. like I want that group of people and Dr. Phil. I would pay so much more for that. I feel like that's where the real drama would get stirred up.
Yeah, I've never talked about the darkest shit. It's not to share.
I've told. I mean, you gotta. Yeah. Well, first of all, we're gonna jump back to this.
I can't.
We need the dark stuff. But in addition to being, Cliff Hutchinson, attorney at law, I'm also Dr. David Greenblatt of Greenblatt. Greenblatt Psychology. So if you ever need to unload about anything,
oh well, thank you.
I'm here. Yeah. So what seems to be bothering you?
No, I don't want to go there. We can't go there. I'm leaking at my own pace.
What's the darkest you can go? You've probably gone there before.
Yeah, probably. I've told the stuff that I'm willing to talk about.
Well, yeah, that's really sad.
Yeah.
That you got fucked up so hard.
I don't know. I'm all right. Just little flashbacks here and there, right? Like a non-veteran, but mostly fine. Working my way through life.
Would you know if you weren't though? Like maybe you think that like some of the feelings that you get or the emotional responses that you have about any number of things, you think of them as natural and normal responses. But what if they're very out there for the average person? Like I feel like this, like maybe,
you can't know how consistent your response inside is to stimuli compared to other people who maybe didn't go through that trauma. Is that what you're saying, Kyle? Like maybe you think you're processing something normally, but your only frame of reference is the fucked up frame. Like
if I smashed like a gallon of milk in front of both my parents, like I would have no fear. That's a little one. That's I don't know. I feel like maybe
I taped my brother up and put him in a wagon and pushed him down a hill while my dad screamed from behind me, "Taylor, don't you push him down that hill!" I had fear in my heart, but I also deserved that reprimanding. So.
Reprimanding?
Yeah.
So did they just?
No, I got spanked. But it wasn't. It was always like a structured, "this hurts me more than it hurts you" kind of spanking. It was never like my mom or dad would freak out and like go into a histrionic fit of them beating me or something. It was always like a measured thing.
They weren't in a rage when they did it.
They weren't blackout crazy when they hit you.
No, they were always very reasonable and structured in the way they did it, and they were like, "We got to hit this kid because he's going to turn into a little shithead if we don't." So yeah, and they were right.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't feel like I ever had to hit my kids. The thing is, this sounds cruel, but I was always able to bring them to tears just by being disappointed in them or talking to them. So that's the only weapon I needed to wield.
Yeah.
And the hammer.
Depends on the kid. Yeah, that and the hammer.
It does depend on the kid.
That. Yeah.
Dude, that totally depends the kid out like a claw hammer. I'll tell you that right now.
Some kids are harder than others, and I think I was harder than most. I know you guys tell me, they're like, "You're a good kid. All kids are good," but I was not easily kept in line.
Yeah, I was a fucking smartass.
But if we examine it further, why were you doing these things? These habitual line steps that were upsetting everyone. Maybe you were looking for attention. Maybe you thought that was the only way to get the attention of your mother. And the fact that she was beating you was just the price you had to pay.
I hear you. I don't think it was attention, though. Like, I don't think I was thirsting for their attention. Their attention was negative, and they could keep it. I feel like more it was like, those were my favorite things to do. You know, like I just want to do hood rat shit with my friends. And then,
do hood rat shit.
that was like, yeah, you know, that's why I snuck out of the house and went drinking in high school. That's why I, play hooky from class and drive the car. That's why I play hooky from all school. My parents, I don't know why they would do this with a kid like me, but they used to go on vacation and just leave me like to handle my own business for a week.
How old were you when you were left? Okay. Well, yeah. That's fine.
Well, but
I want you to say 8 so bad.
No. I definitely wasn't 8. But the thing is, like, I was a 15-year-old that would not stay in line. Like, you could not leave me alone and expect me. I would just be like, if my parents are on vacation, then clearly I'm on vacation too. This is during the school year. And I would just miss every day of school. Just take a bunch of days off, not go.
This is nature versus nurture stuff. Did they make you that way, or did they beat you because you were that way?
These are good questions. If I hadn't had that one dog that was so mean, I think I might put more on nurture. But I had a dog who was just ferocious, and he had nothing but love and support around him. I think kids can be like that too. I bet Taylor was a little hard to raise sometimes. I mean to talk about him after he left, but I just suspect that
he seems like a real piece of shit. I mean,
I just bet he was maybe had a hint of class clown in him, right? Liked it when everyone laughed at his funny stuff.
3 brothers, though. I feel like, and this is something that I think everyone experiences differently. It depends on what siblings you have and what the mixture is. As much as like what your environment was. Like 3 brothers always struck me as like those are going to be athletic, physical, like joking, goofy guys in the end, because they're always fucking with each other. They're always fist fighting. They're always like joking around and farting on each other, or like putting a frog in somebody's cereal or something crazy like that. Because it's, because in my scenario, like you throw a grasshopper on. If I throw a grasshopper on my sister, she doesn't. Oh, you got me! And then put like a praying mantis in my bed. She screams and cries and runs away. She's no fun to play this game with, right?
Right.
Like if I punch my sister, then like we're not gonna learn to box because we did that throughout our childhood. I'm just gonna get the shit kicked out of me for punching my sister, right? That's what's gonna happen. But I don't know. I feel like you had one brother. He had 2 fucking brothers, and I had none. I can't imagine what it would have been like with 2 other brothers. I think they're both younger than him.
Yeah, he's the oldest.
He's beat the shit out of them throughout his entire life. He had a little dude to bully.
Yeah, that's true. With my older brother, I always felt a little bullied. Like he didn't seem to be on my team so much when we were young. He's much better as an adult. And, my counter to it would usually be to try harder. Like if he's picking on me a little bit, I'm going at 100% in an effort to just try to keep up because he's 2 years older.
Yeah. Taylor, we were talking about your upbringing and how like with that a lot of your personality is probably as much due to the fact that you had 2 younger brothers as it was to like how your parents raised you, perhaps. Because I feel like having 2 brothers, like you end up being in like a jokey, like silly, picking on each other and having a good time, and also like fighting and competing in sports and physical stuff constantly. And from your point of view as like the older brother, like there wasn't a point in your adolescence where you didn't have a little version of you to beat the shit out of.
Yeah, that's true. But I also, not once ever did I ever hit one of my younger brothers. Like really? I never pushed them down the stairs. I never punched them. I never kicked them.
You rolled them down a hill.
In a wagon. Like he was in a wagon. I didn't
totally
like,
different.
Push him down.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that one up is because it's the funniest and most outrageous of those things, because I can still remember holding one arm on that play school wagon thing that moms would like drag with their kid back there as they're going on their little walk. I still remember holding that, and I can still in my head if I close my eyes, I can see my dad standing up there past the retaining wall too far away to stop me and saying, Taylor, don't you push your brother down that hill. And I just went and just let go. And
it's funny.
He flew down the hill. Like, but other than that, like I did not pick on, like, I would like enforce things and do stuff like, this is what we're going to watch for TV, like on TV. This is what we're going to do. What are we doing right now? No, we're not going to go outside. We're going to play hockey in the basement, or we're going to whatever we're going to do. But like the actual hitting and stuff, I never did that. I was at a friend's house once when I was fucking 18 at a friend's house, and two of my friends were there. It was my buddy who was in my grade, who was my age, and then his younger brother who was in a grade two below ours, but we were friends with him too. And we were playing, what was it? Oh yeah. One of them was sitting on their PC downstairs and had his headphones on trying to play, the younger one. And I was sitting next to the older one on the TV playing Halo. And we were playing Halo, and he had the volume up really, really loud, like, it was really loud, and the younger one kept taking his headphones off and was like, I can't even hear my game with how loud you're playing the Halo music. And my buddy's like, well, I was playing with Taylor down here first, so you can go play somewhere else. I can't move it, it's a desktop. And it went from that so quickly to like, all right, Taylor, you play for a bit. He like goes over, pushes his brother on the chair, and like I expected it to be the way I engage with my brothers, where it's like, hey, just stop your shit, not anything like that. He stands up and goes, like goes for like an immediate punch. And by the way, my friend responded with a parry. He had been there before. And so then I watched, and like it was like about to be dinner time, and we were gonna go up and spend time, like eat dinner with his family who were cooking for us. And I'm like, guys, stop fighting. And his dad comes down. Like as the fight is beginning, his dad doesn't know. He can't hear. He just hears scuffling and whatnot. He doesn't know. And he's like, his dad has the deepest voice of any adult man I've ever heard in my life. He's like, boys, dinner. And I'm like, all right, time for dinner, guys. That means peace treaty until afterward. And so then my buddy pushes the other one down on this hard slate tile and then starts to run up the stairs. So I like wait for him to run past me, and the younger one stands up and runs like a fucking jackal, just leaping like that guy across the fucking trampolines earlier I was talking about. And he grabs onto his leg at near like the middle of the stairs and yanks it hard to where the other guy, my buddy, slipped and did that thing where you like bang your body on the stairs and just boom, hit the stairs so hard. At this point, the dad has heard, and the mother and the mom's going, honey, don't yell at him. We're about to have dinner. It's like, boys, up here now! The scariest voice. I'm like, I don't even live here. And I'm like frightened. And they had a boxing match, like fighting each other, wrestling, hitting hard, like couple punches to the nuts. Heard like, can't hit in the nuts. Don't hit me in the nuts, faggot. Like really offensive yelling shit. And the dad is at the top of the stairs. They are brawling in the middle of the stairs, and I'm standing on a lower step, wanting to go to dinner. And I was trying to my frame of mind was like, oh, they're gonna get ripped a fucking new one for this. But within like 3 minutes, like it was over. Just the fighting had got out of their system. And then it was just eating dinner. And it was just a weird dynamic because I never had that. Like, my dad never had to come and pull me off my brother because I was beating him up.
Well, he didn't either. He just yelled ineffectively.
He yelled ineffectively, but he put the fear of God in them. They slowed down.
Okay.
So, fewer punches than would have been thrown. Yeah. Did you guys ever do you have any stories like that where you went to a friend's house when you were younger and you realized that the, I guess, archetype or framework of their family worked totally different than yours?
Yeah. I went to two brothers' house, and one of the brothers is my age, and the other is maybe a year, 2 years younger. And we were like 14 or 15, and so of course he's 13 or 14 or something like that. And we're down in the basement, like playing, and he had like all kinds of cool shit in the basement. Their dad had divorced the mom, and he was paying he must have been really pumping a lot of money into that household because a lot of it seemed to be going to toys and games. Because like the entire basement was like it was the air hockey table and a pool table and a table tennis table, and then just toys scattered everywhere on the floor. And I was barefooted, and I was just marveling at all the toys. I didn't have nearly this many toys. And then I start noticing that they're like putting masks on and like getting swords out, and like I don't think anything of it. And then I hear the lights turn off. It goes choom, And it goes, now I realize we're in a basement. That's right. Just because there's carpet on the walls and sheetrock on the walls and carpets on the floor doesn't mean that this isn't a subterranean room where no one can hear me scream. And then I hear
a little skittering.
They've both armed themselves and put on armor. And apparently this is a game they play where they turn off the lights and have sword battles wearing Jason masks with fucking karate swords. And they're running past me occasionally, whacking me like in the back of the knees with a sword. And I keep trying to like lurch toward them, but they've got armor and swords. And I think they were going to kill me down there until their mom came to the top of the stairs and said it was chicken nugget time.
Jeez.
My parents.
They didn't even give you weapons so you could play?
Oh, no. I think that was the best part for them was that they'd normally been facing off against each other in their armor. And here I was, a newcomer. I didn't know anything about the arms race that took place at the fifth toll of the bell. Yeah, they both seemed to know exactly what was up, though. They both had, one of them had a Jason mask on, and one of them had like this big, hard plastic Spider-Man mask that like clamped onto your head, and they both had like plastic katanas that hurt like a motherfucker.
Oh, that sounds like fun, though.
Yeah, I bet they had a great time.
Though, actually, no, I thought of another way I injured my brother. That was the worst way I injured him. It was totally on accident. So we were in our unfinished basement with obviously concrete floor, and we had a little TV, boob tube, glass screen, kind of old TV. This was probably like 1998 or so around there, 98, 99. And we were both playing this wrestling game, this like WWF or whatever it was called at the time game. And it was like every character had like special moves, like, special finishing move where he like grabs you by both your thighs and like slams you into the ground really good, or this guy will like Bowser you with with an ankle and throw you around, and it was fun. And so after we were playing that before dinner one night, we're like, let's play wrestling. We're like, yeah, should we play it on the carpet? No, let's play it on the concrete. The way they do in this game, like it's hardcore. And we didn't have that conversation, but we decided to do it on the concrete because we were dumb children. And I was like an enormous 8-year-old. Like I was a big fucking kid, like not just tall, but like wide, like a wide, broad, big kid. And my younger brother, was the opposite. He was smaller for his age. And so it was a big difference, like not that much in age, but quite a bit in size. And so we started like wrestling, like doing the moves and like practicing and all that. And I don't remember what the move was. I think it was the one where you like grab somebody around their waist and like lift them up and like smash them down. I don't think I got it all the way right because I was a kid. So it basically ended up in me tackling him and him, coming off the ground a little bit and then falling back and smashing his head on the concrete. And immediately, based on the sound that I heard, I was like, this is no longer playing. Like this has gone awry. And so my brother starts crying. I do what all 8 or 9 year olds, or however old I was, do. And I was like, shush, be quiet. You want us both to go down? No, you have to convince him that like we're both in this together instead of me getting yelled at. And this is actually right after dinner. And after him laying there for a bit, like acting confused and befuddled, I like ran to the stairs. We were in our basement. I yelled up, Mom! I didn't yell Dad for good reason. Mom! Come downstairs! My dad heard, obviously, my panic in my voice, and they both come down. And they start talking to my brother. They're like, what did you do? And I'm like, we were playing wrestling. It's like, on the concrete? You're playing wrestling on the concrete and you threw your brother into the ground? I'm like, I was playing. And they asked him, they're like, what did we have for dinner? Or like, what's your name? and he answered all the basic ones, like, what did we have for dinner? Like something recent. What did we have for dinner? We had just eaten spaghetti 25 minutes ago. And he was like, I don't know. I can't remember what we had for dinner. And my dad gave me a look of like,
he broke the most precious thing he has on earth. Like one of the kids.
Remember dinner, Taylor.
Yeah. You come in, get in the car. We're going to the hospital. And so that was the most scared few hours I've ever spent in my life, sitting in a room like, Goo. Justice is about to come around. Yeah, that was terrible. I felt really bad, but I felt worse thinking I was gonna get punished. All I got was spanked, so it panned out.
Yeah, right.
He's better than your brother.
We didn't play wrestling anymore, and that was the first of his many concussions.
Taylor asked about a family dynamic that was different. Like my parents, for all their flaws, I always knew they liked each other, right? Like that wasn't something I had to worry about. But my best friend when I was young, it was like 9 or 10 or something, his parents didn't seem to like each other. And that was a thing that I had to witness like repeatedly. They would get into these screaming matches, oftentimes about things my friends and I did. And they would throw things at each other like plates and teacups. And like I remember a spatula was a frequent thing that they toss around. The dad was a drunk and he worked at a bar. And that would often be a problem. He'd get drunk.
Combo.
Yeah, and he'd get really mad. He ran over another one of my friend's bikes. And like we came out, like we all had our bikes parked there. Apparently he saw the bike behind his car, got pissed off and figured, fuck it, I'm driving right over this bicycle. And it was mangled to hell. But we were stupid and we were kids and we're like, how did this happen? We're guessing like ghouls and goblins and shit like that. Like we don't know what did this to the bike.
That's hilarious. Like, ghouls and demons and something.
We had no clue.
It's a chupacabra.
Yeah, that was our first guess. But like when we talked to our parents about it, they could see the score in a way that we as kids couldn't. And they're like, oh, that fucking drunk guy ran over a bike. And you know what, as an adult, like if you so much as knock a bike over, that's when you become aware that you hit something, right?
You know.
Yeah, you don't get like completely over the bike with both sets of tires and out the front of the car going backwards in a state of like unawareness.
Smells like gas. As you're just driving down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I sometimes wonder like how they worked out. You know, how did this kid grow up? I know he went to college. I ended up having a friend that knew him or something. But
I bet he doesn't hide from his wife.
He might. Why would you think he doesn't? Right? Why would you think he doesn't? I bet he does. I bet we have that in common.
I don't know.
Yeah, his parents they gave out some whoopings. My parents didn't whoop me in front of the neighbors or anything. I mentioned I had a friend, another friend too. We got real close with. I found him on Facebook not long ago, and I was talking to him about paramotoring and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, you always did have a wild side in you. Like you were always wanting to like sneak out at night and jump on passing railroad cars and stuff like that. Like when I was little, and
anything to get away."
And but he had no idea that my parents like were like they were. Like that was it was very hidden from the world.
Well, that's what they always say about those people. You know, he seemed like a normal guy. Yeah.
I had an ant farm, but I'm from Georgia, so it was a fire ant farm. And I did it in an enormous pickle jar, you know, like the really big ones you can get.
This is like a ball jar, like a big glass.
Yeah.
I don't know what a enormous pickle
like
jar is.
3 gallons. Glass jar.
Okay.
You know, like that jar of pickled eggs you might see at like an old Western bar, like big fucking glass jar, and it was full of fire ants. And I would, you know, give them sugar and like bugs and stuff.
Was this
like
a kit you bought?
No, I bought a pickle jar. I got a pickle jar. Went out back with a shovel.
But usually they're clear in such a way that you can see what they're doing. It's
a pickle jar. They're clear.
Yeah, but this is just like dirt outside.
Outside? No, I put it on the kitchen table.
Obviously, yeah. Where else would you put the fire ants?
Did it ever actually get like looking cool or anything, or no?
No, they just all fucking died because they were in a pickle jar.
I put it in the sun and hit 210 in there.
And I didn't get like an accurate ratio of the whole hierarchy of a fire ant nest. I just went, got a big shovel full of ants and threw them in a jar. And it's probably a bunch of like privates and lieutenants, and they're just like, "Where's the president?
Yeah,
where's the?" It quickly fell apart. The whole society crumbled.
When I was a kid, just made me think of bug pets. I found like a praying mantis, like maybe that tall, outside, and I caught him and put him in a little like shitty old little terrarium looking thing. And I remember like at first it was like, oh cool, I'm gonna go catch a cricket outside, and then take it in and like drop it in there, and you watch them kind of. First of all, they take fucking forever to make a decision on anything. I don't know how David Attenborough waits that long for all the planet Earths, for all the bugs to make their minds up. It would just stand there and look at the cricket for like half an hour sometimes. But then eventually he would just get it, eat it, and you'd watch and be like, man, that's cool. After a couple of weeks, because I was a child, I lost interest in it. And I remember like it was green when I caught it, and I was playing on the Nintendo or something, and it was like over on next to me. And my dad came down, and he was like, "Hey, Taylor, the praying mantis isn't looking so good." And it was just like gray and sad looking. And I was like, and he's like, "You should probably go feed it." And I was like, "Oh." And so I was going outside to get a bug, and then I saw it was raining, and I was like, "Nah." so I just went back and kept playing it, and it died. And that was
Jesus.
When I was in
Just let it go.
when I was
because in my head I was like, I'm gonna get a bug after it's done raining. After it's done raining, I'm gonna be right out there getting a bug for sure. One more game of Mario Party. Come on, rain, finish up.
I was maybe 4th grade, and to my mother's credit, she was volunteering at the school. We had a chameleon. I don't know if you guys have ever like been with a chameleon in real life, but to me, this was the coolest thing that could possibly be a thing. And he would really change colors. Like, that works. They do that shit. And I think in my head, that's how I remember it. And they needed someone to take the chameleon home for the weekend. And they were going to do that. Let all the students take it home. Like, me, you, this weekend, that weekend. But you had to have parental consent. My mom was right there. And I'm like, Mom, can we? With all my hopes and dreams. And she said yes. So we brought that chameleon home with us for the weekend. And I couldn't have been happier. Like, I'm just laying on my belly outside on the deck, watching the chameleon do nothing for ages and ages. And I guess that wore out. So I left him on the deck, because where else would a chameleon be happier than outside? Well, it turns out it doesn't take that long for a chameleon in like a plastic cage to cook.
Still in the cage.
Yeah, he's cooked, and like there's no water in this thing. It looked like I had shish kebabbed him and spun him over a fire. He was he couldn't have been deader and more grotesque. And
so funny.
This is so much worse than what Winks did to that cat.
But it's a chameleon.
I think it's the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
Just less fluid.
How old were you?
A 4th grade, so that would have made me like 9ish.
That's an excuse.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Because if you'd been like, this was last year, I'm going to be honest, it wasn't my classroom. It was Collins, and it got. All right, I thought the chameleon was cool.
It could have even been 2nd grade. I just know the school, so it was 1 to 4.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have like class pets? Is that like it was?
This was a class. Well, we had one briefly.
We had one,
but like how. Like in grade school, we had a class pet, but it wasn't like stayed in the same classroom. It'd be like, all right, who's going to take Gary the hamster home? And then he'll be right back with you for 4th grade too, or whatever the fuck. And it was like the 3rd grade. And everybody's like, me. And I was like, I don't want it. I've got dogs. And so
I don't want your shitty pet.
I don't want your shitty fucking
What
pet.
was it again?
It was like a gerbil or a hamster or one of those shitty little animals that doesn't do anything. And this girl, Anna, was just like, please let me take it home. Please. Just like freaking the fuck out. And you know that a kid is freaking the fuck out when another 3rd grader is like, cool your jets. Settle down. It's all right. And they're like, all right, Anna, Jesus Christ. You can and so,
Poor Anna.
So she took it home. And for the summer, I wasn't friends with her. Girls were icky at that age. And so get back. I didn't give a shit about the hamster, but a couple other kids in the class really cared. And we're like, there on the first day, like, where's Gary? Where's Gary? Is Gary here? And then Anna came in. No Gary. And they're like, everybody's like, Anna, where's Gary? She's like, Gary died over the summer. And like, she literally, there were a couple people like bullying the shit out of her for a while because dumb bitch Anna can't keep Gary alive for a summer. Really? No, you want to play Foursquare? No, we don't play with gerbil killers. We play with people who take care of animals.
I'm glad you said that, because that's what I wanted to ask Woody. What happened when you went back to school with that shish kebab roasted chameleon?
Okay.
Did you get another one?
Well, we did not bring the evidence back to the school. I think that Dick is right. The school or teacher or something quickly replaced it. I explained that it died. I don't know if I went into the detail on how grotesque and painful that death must have been. And there really were no social ramifications. There was no big fallout.
Wow. Did they replace it like with the lizard that didn't change color? Some a little bit cheaper, hardier.
I think it was another chameleon. But we also, if I have my history right, it's been a long time. I think we switched to growing lima bean plants too, and that was the new class interest.
Cool.
Did you ever do they had to. They had to.
Yeah,
It was
right.
a budgetary issue after you roasted the chameleon.
Well, what's your class?
I don't know what we're gonna do for biology, Karen. The Woodworth boy, he took it home and tortured it to death. His mother told me all about it.
I know she's scared too.
They all are.
I love
Jake,
that.
what were you saying there about? Do you guys have anything like that? Anybody at your school who like fucked under the stairwell or like got caught beaten off in class? We had a kid in one of the special needs classes who, the special needs group, they gossiped like nobody's business. Like something happened in the special needs class, that's all around the school because they would spread it. And like one of the kids one day, like they had a beanbag chair in there, and apparently he just sat back and did that thing that children do, where they think that because oh, they can't see my dick, it's in my pants, and my hands in my pants, they don't know what's going on. He just laid back with his eyes closed and like mouth half open apparently, and just masturbated in his khakis as like the other kids learning hooked on phonics.
I feel like adults do that on planes. Oh, there's a blanket here. Can't tell.
Yeah,
I
do that.
I have
to do that.
I have two sort of stories that are a bit dissimilar. When I was in third grade, I was in normal classes, but my mother taught in the same school the special ed class. Well, the special ed class is going to go to the Tennessee Aquarium one day, and that morning she'd been like, "Hey, do you want to go to the aquarium with us today? I could probably just get you out of class and you could go with us. We're going on a field trip." And to a third grader, at least to me, all the way through like school, field trips are like a holiday or something like that. It's like there's no school. We get to go. It's cool to be in the bus with all your friends. It's cool to go somewhere and get those. I like the sack lunches. Everything about a field trip was really cool and fun to me. So I was like, absolutely, I want to go to the Tennessee Aquarium. That sounds great. Now, me today, I'd be like, won't I be with all the special education kids? And when I walk into the aquarium in line with them, won't anyone working at the fucking aquarium think I'm literally retarded? But I had none of these thoughts. And so we go. All right. And good trip, whatever. I had the old, cassette tape player, I had a little Walkman. So I didn't talk to anybody on the bus. I just sat there in my seat and listened to my cassette tape, had a great time singing to myself all the way 3.5 hours to Tennessee. Went to the aquarium, got a bunch of little goodies to take home, in the gift shop, saw some fish and shit. Well, on the way back, Tiffany Jones, that's right, I said her name, shit herself. And to make matters worse, I should have said that second, because first we stopped for lunch at a rest stop, and my mom's assistant teacher picked the place, this grassy area, for us all to go and eat our sacked lunches. She picked the area that people take their dogs to shit. So all of these retards are walking in dog shit unknowingly. So now everyone on the bus has dog shit on their feet. So it already smells on the bus real bad. And then Tiffany Jones shits herself.
This could work to her advantage, right?
It
She
did
could have
not.
slid under the radar.
No.
Kyle, I'm sure that she shit her
What, me?
pants
No, that's
early
everybody's
into the trip.
shoes.
She shit. No. It was like, it's not like we started at like a 3 on the sneaky scale and slowly ramped up. No, there was a moment when suddenly, pow, right in the kisser, we were at a 9 on the liquid shit and Tiffany Jones sweatpants smell scale. And it was like, all right, everyone lower your windows down. They literally had everybody lower their windows down to 1/3 crack or whatever to deal with the shit smell on the bus the rest of the way back. Best field trip ever. Had a ball.
Did anybody clean Tiffany up, or did they wait?
I don't fucking know. I'll ask my mom tomorrow. I have no idea if they cleaned Tiffany up. I wouldn't want that. I know my mom didn't clean Tiffany up. That wasn't her job. No. No, and
I feel like
certainly
you should be allowed to like if you are the special ed teacher, you can't show back up at school with a shitty kid and pawn him off, right?
Yeah. I think you just drop them off at the office and be like, hey, we got a code 7 over here. You want to call Miss Jones' parents? Let them know she has ruined herself. Yep, it's in the pussy. Yep, she confirmed that. Yes, deep in there. Yeah, she's been scratching it a lot.
Yeah, I saw you were doing something. Someone went over to your subreddit to because I knew you were coming on. I wanted to see what was new with you in your world.
Oh no!
There was a clip of you painting a woman naked on stream. Is that what that was?
Wait, was the woman a canvas, or was he painting on a canvas of a naked person?
No, Destiny was naked.
Okay, first of all,
wow,
she wasn't naked. She had nipple covers. Okay, so I reject your characterization of what was happening in that stream. And that's all I have for that one. Yeah, I was.
What was she wearing on the bottom? Socks?
Pants, whatever.
Okay,
normal,
pants. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, all you mentioned was the nipple covers. I'm picturing this fucking bush and naked woman with nothing but nipple covers.
It's 2019. If she was naked, she wouldn't have a bush.
Yeah.
Don't judge me. I picture it the way I want to.
Okay. I was just bringing it up because that looked like fun.
Yeah, it was.
Like you painting her belly and everything.
Anytime you can push any object into a boob, I mean, I'm all for it, I guess. Whatever.
That's kind of like an hour painting her and it's dripping off her tits. Everywhere else is clean.
If you're out there and you're 16, 17 and you're like, man, I really love boobs and shit. I wonder if that'll change when you get older. I'm 30 and I don't know. I still really like boobs. If I have the chance to touch one for a while, I'll fucking do it.
Nice.
I can't wait to tell my nephews when they turn 13 to just hammer in how lucky they have it that they can watch naked chicks getting painted on a platform their parents can't understand and therefore can't protect them. I'll be like, motherfucker, I had to steal a Adam and Eve catalog that they accidentally delivered to my house when I was 13 and hide it in a fort in the backyard that I said I was building for fun, but it was just a pornography storage device. You guys don't know. You can just hide the app, you little fucks.
Wait, isn't Adam and Eve wasn't it just pictures of products they sell at the sex store?
There's women who model lingerie.
Yeah, they would throw some chicks on there to model it. Taylor, what are you talking about?
I don't know.
Just gonna
I remember.
show
I mean,
dildos.
I'm much younger than you. But
yeah,
my family, I didn't have access to. I didn't have access to a computer that I could use. We had one family computer, and it was a very open area. I couldn't risk beating my meat, and so I was 12 years old, and I was into paintball. And I found out that one specific paintball magazine had paintball girls, and every 4 pages was a damn near naked woman, just holding a Tipman or something. And so I had that forever, and I have to go out, and my mom would screen and want to flip through things first, and so I'd always have to rush home, check for paintball 88 or something like that, and get it back, then just go beat off. It ruled.
I remember
I had
one of the most
such a sex positive house. Regular listeners know, I'd hear my parents having sex, make fun of them in the morning and stuff like that. Our cleaning lady
it's not normal.
found all these dirty magazines in between my mattress and my box spring, and she ratted me out to my parents, and they're like, "Yeah, you can keep them." That's how it went down in my house.
That's rude as fuck.
Yeah, well, the cleaning lady was rude, but my parents were down. That's the takeaway.
What would you make fun of them for?
Not
lasting long enough?
No. My mother would say these super complimentary things of my father's technique, and then in the morning I'd be like, "Oh, Stan," and then I just quote her, and it's yeah, he heard.
Do you remember any specifically?
Oh, Stan for sure. Just that feels good. I like it. It wasn't there's nothing that quote worthy, but you string a couple of them together in a row, and they're like, yeah, that's what she said.
On the contrary, all of this sounds quote worthy. Was there ever a moment where you were with a girl in your early days, and she asked, "Wow, you're really good," and you're like, "Learned it from my dad, learned it from my mom, learned it." Did you have a moment where you realized this wasn't normal? Were you ever talking, wow, do your parents have sex this way? You're doing it so wrong. Did you ever have this conversation with a girl?
I've always known it wasn't normal. And that it's been a bit of a barrier for me to interact with normal people, right? I don't have the kind of sex shame that probably everyone else was taught. And it's all right, Woody, yeah. that's one you keep in because other guys aren't comfortable talking about this or that or the other thing.
Oh, just the thought of being a kid hearing my parents fucking and having it be so clear that I'm discerning their positive reinforcement to one another on techniques.
Dude,
that's beyond cringe. That would make my stomach hurt.
I always had the confidence and knowledge that those two were together. That I never in my from the day I was born till today, they're a unit, and that's comforting.
I joke around, but that's actually really cool. I actually super respect that. I think that's a cool thing.
Now they're hyper religious and don't like when we make fun of the Bible and stuff. Hi, Woody's mom. She listens to the show.
She does. She watches the whole show.
But back then, when they were like, yeah, porn's cool, listen to your dad absolutely destroy me tonight. Like, I assume they weren't like hardcore Christians then, right?
No. I've taken little jabs at them. Like sometimes when we debate, I try not to use the long knives, but they were pro-choice at a time that a baby would have seriously altered my life. And then once their youngest is married and such, they're pro-life. Like, a little convenient, but
they did it the right way though. Have a ton of fun when you're young, get religious when you're old, and just clean slate.
They're still having fun. They're living their perfect life.
Doesn't your dad say the only reason he doesn't go to 5 Bible school classes a week is because they only offer 4?
Yeah, that's right. You even got the numbers right. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah,
that's
but
so
he's retired now. He's really good at retirement. He gets up. He doesn't run anymore. He's 72 maybe, but he rides his bike every day. He's lost weight and he just enjoys the outdoors. That's his thing.
Did you ever try to get them back by being really loud with a girl in your room after a particularly raucous session of theirs?
No,
I'll show you guys.
I always,
I'll
show you, Dad.
I fucked up. I really should have gone that direction. Yeah, no, we were always stealth mode. But
all right, Brittany, I know this is going to sound weird, but I want you to yell out loudly, wow, it's even bigger than Stan's. Get some jealousy in the house.
That's funny.
Why'd you drag me here?
My mom walked into me getting a blowjob on vacation once. We were on a big family vacation.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like this was 2 years ago. So I walked out and
seriously
cleaning obsessively. I'm like, well, I hope that we all learned a lesson about knocking on doors, even when we're on vacation. I know you
What
guys.
angle did she enter from? What angle vision of the activity?
It was full on. It would have been
Profile?
Somebody had. It was the bed was in the corner, and the door was about 45 degrees to the bed, kind of off up.
Yeah.
So she would have come in and seen, it could have been worse. She could have got a ball angle. She could have got an upskirt shot, but she didn't. She got mostly shaft in her view.
Dick,
It sounds like that's the worst
you.
possible outcome.
Dick did it right. Dick said, hey, I hope you learned your lesson and established dominance. That's what teenage Taylor should have done with the computer in the living room. Just all right, bitches, I hope you learned your lesson. This is my wank bank. This is my space. And
I ended up getting in trouble for it because they would, I was maybe 13, 14 years old, and they'd be like, hey, we're taking me and your mom are taking your brother to his soccer game or whatever the fuck. You want to come and we'll buy ice cream, or you want to stay home alone? It was always home alone.
A mix of two. I'm going to stay home and come.
Yeah. I was going to say I want to do both.
Yeah, I'd be just lying the whole way as I'm walking them out. Yeah, I think I'm going to play my Pokemon game or play Legos. And as soon as they go, just happy jogging downstairs to masturbate. And then,
okay, kids. Yeah. Kids are so bad at lying. This is something that I've noticed with my 8-year-old. I wish that he would just hit me or something instead of ever trying to tell a lie. So the most common one, I don't know, in terms of children, I don't know, Dick, if you have any.
I don't have any. Woody has.
I've got a 6-year-old nephew that I'm very close
with. Okay, yeah. So I don't know if you've what stages of lying you're at, but so we have to work on bathroom stuff sometimes. Make sure you always wash your hands when you come into the bathroom. But sometimes I'll wander by the hallway, I'll hear the toilet flush, and he'll come walking out, and I'll say, Nathan, did you wash your hands? And I'll go, oh yeah, Dad. And I'll go, if I go into the bathroom and check the sink, is it going to be wet? And he'll be like, well, no, but I like to clean it up with the towel after to make sure it's clean. And I'm like, Nathan, do you think we should go? And he's like, okay, wait, Dad. I'll go wash my hands again just to make sure they're clean. Jesus.
And
stop.
You remember being a kid, and in his head, he's like, that was a close call.
Yeah, every time he lies, I have to think back, like, what dumb shit did I say when I was a kid? I honestly thought my parents fucking believed me. You know, like, how many times did they walk in with me hunched over like this? And it's like, Dad, I'm turning my pocket inside out. What's up? You know, just go away. You know, like, oh, God.
I got caught putting glue like on a kid's seat. I thought I'd only done this once. I remembered recently. I tried this twice. The first one was a fail in kindergarten. I used a glue stick. The second time he sat down and it didn't even get stuck. He just stood up and it was like still goopy and sticky and it wasn't even funny like I imagined in my head. But the first time I tried it, I put it on there and the teacher came in and said, are you putting glue on the chair? No. Just watching me do it, and then she made me clean it up. Yeah, I still am retarded, but even more so back then.
Well, you mentioned the family computer space. So back back before everybody had a literal supercomputer that they could carry around with them. Some of us had one computer for the whole household, and I remember so back then computers to me still were voodoo magic. You know, if you unplug a computer while it's on, it is irrevocably destroyed. Nothing you could do will save it. This is true of every electronic device that is connected to the computer. I wanted to now, because we couldn't masturbate in the main room, there's people in the kitchen. I thought, well, what if I just printed off some porn and took it upstairs with me? And now I've never printed. I printed like school reports, and they print real quick. They just come out. It's like, okay, so I figured I could probably print like a couple pornographic pictures, whatever. So I think at the time I was probably 11. I had pictures of whatever anime, Goku, Vegeta, somebody fucking somebody with a monster, and I'm like, okay, yeah. So I'll just print this one, and then I'll take it upstairs with me. So, you know, I'm real crafty. I make sure
black and white or color.
Oh, full color.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So I push the print button on this, and then real quick, I Alt F4. I clear the cookies, the browser history, and everything. And I think I'm real smooth. And I walk over to the printer, and it's
gonna take 30 minutes.
Oh my God! Yeah. And so like a minute or two. These are long minutes, okay? It's only maybe 1/20th of the way there. And I'm getting real nervous because I'm just standing next to the printer, and if anybody walks by, and I can't unplug the printer because I don't know what's going to happen to it. I don't know if it's going to be destroyed. You go on the computer, and I try to find a way to cancel the print, but dude, back then printers were impossible to work with. I pushed a million buttons. I couldn't stop anything. And my parents are walking by in the bathroom. I think my sister comes through the room. She doesn't say anything, and I'm freaking out. So I try to rip the page out of the printer, and it's growling at me. It's the feeder is making noises as it's trying to like print the thing. And by the end of it, I've ripped maybe 20 pages out because it keeps printing like half of the picture. And
was this the scrolling kind with the holes on the side?
Whatever one like fed it through the top. Yeah, is it like slowly And by the time my parents walked in, I don't know what I looked like. I must have been a disaster. I told my mom I was trying to print something out for a video game, and only the bottom, you could only see like the bottom of like Vidal's boot. And like the dripping cum, but you couldn't really tell what it was. But print it off, and it's like, I guess it didn't work, Mom. This was one of the most stressful moments of my entire life. Oh my God.
That's so fucking funny.
Do you remember the picture, Destiny?
I actually do. If you would, okay.
Have you ever found it?
Maybe if this gets posted on the subreddit, I've never looked for it. Okay, but it was it was like a floating picture. I think Vidal was being held in the air and being fucked by like Cell or some shit with his like massive tail. Something like that. If there, maybe this is, I don't know if this is specific enough. There might be a million of these types, but if I saw it again, I would absolutely remember it.
Can you draw it? Can you draw any kind of approximation so that the top artist could...
If you would have tuned in to the booby painting stream that Taylor mentioned, you would know I have absolutely zero artistic talent whatsoever. So no, I would not be able to draw anything whatsoever.
Well,
printing porn. Man, I'm glad I wasn't smart enough to have thought of that because it would have gone the exact same way. I wouldn't have been ballsy enough to do color. Good for you. Yeah,
I like it.
Wouldn't have allowed that. Trying to think of other times. Can you guys think of any other times we were retarded when we were kids? Just dumb shit we did. There's so many stories. All the times I gave my brother a concussion on accident because WWE, you know, it only happened twice. And only one of the times in my, actually, I'm going to say I'm blameless for all of it.
Carry on. So the same thing would have happened if you weren't there.
Actually, that's not true. One of those times he didn't even get concussed. The time that I tied him up and put him in a wagon on top of a hill and pushed him down it and he ran into a tree by happenstance. It wasn't on purpose. He was meant to just go see how fast he would go. And he hit his head. He didn't even get concussed. It was only the time that we were playing WWE and I was practicing the finishing moves in our concrete unfinished basement that I smacked his head and he couldn't remember that we had spaghetti 20 minutes before.
I agree. That doesn't sound like your fault at all.
No, it wasn't I didn't mean to.
That doesn't make it less your fault.
No, it does. It does.
That's not how
kindergarten rules. It turns out like they need to know that when you're playing WWE 1998 and one of the special moves of the coolest character is grab them around the waist and slam them down, that I'm going to do it on concrete. And I'm going to remember the sickening crack of his head on that concrete for the rest of my life.
I mean, who could have predicted that would hurt him? You can't know some things.
I was like 7, but I was built like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you seem pretty indestructible, right?
Yeah. Like, do you remember having that like not cogent, but that thought in your head? I remember like watching movies and shit where someone gets shot and I'm like, yeah, if I got shot, that wouldn't have happened to me. I'd be fine. Oh, if I got hit by a car, probably the car that would be damaged. Like when I was like 5 and 6 years old, the idea of me dying wasn't even real. You know, like you think I'm indestructible. Everyone else is just, it's like solipsistic in a way where like everybody's a little actor in my movie. And then you get a little older and you're like, oh shit, like that kid in my class who got hit by a car and definitely didn't damage the car at all.
I must have maybe I'm remembering this in a faulty way, but I feel like as I turned 31 in a month or two, it felt like when you were a kid you could like sprain your ankle and then like by 5 p.m. you're good to go again. Like maybe you hurt it, maybe you're out for a day or two. Nowadays, if I get out of the car wrong, it feels like it's gonna hurt for a week. I don't know.
Oh, it gets worse. Have you tried to go on a trampoline in your 30s? I climb on and I'm like, why does my head already fucking pounding, man? I sprain my back brushing my teeth now.
Oh man!
I have to think while I'm fucking so I don't accidentally pull something that I didn't even know I had before. Taylor, I didn't know that went away. That you like every time there's like every 9/11 comes around, I'm sitting there going, yeah, I totally would have fucking stopped. Have elaborate fantasies of how I would have stopped it. I think everyone does that still. Like,
yeah.
Do you remember that Mark Wahlberg interview?
Yes.
Where they were like talking to him about 9/11, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I would have stopped it. It would have gone differently if I was on that plane."
Oh no!
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Jesus!
No, come on!
Don't hero shame him.
Actually, no, that is a pretty cool thing to say. I would have stopped it. I would have stopped that in the subsequent 18-year war.
Every school shooting, I'm like, man, fucking wish that would have happened to me. I'd be all over the news. The local
firing library books at him, frisbee style.
I do that a little bit, yeah. But no, the plane thing, I think I wouldn't have done anything because my entire life, up the first 30 years of it, if a plane gets hijacked, what happens is you don't get to land at your favorite airport and you have to wear the same underwear for 3 days. That's the consequence of getting your plane hijacked. It ruins half of a vacation. And that's it. That's all that ever happened for like my whole life, according to my foggy memory. They didn't crash the plane into buildings or the ground or anything. They just made you sit there and held you hostage until they changed their mind. So I think
but I would have known something was up, Woody. I would have known.
Oh well, yeah, you would have.
Could feel it in the air. Yeah,
I would have known.
Look in their eyes, man.
They got a box cutter to some lady's jugular, and you're like, I think I could disarm him in time.
That would have been if I were on that flight, because I would have been like fucking 10 or 11 or whatever. All I would have done is sit there with my Pokemon game and been like, "This is gay." And that's what I would have been thinking about as I flew into the building, was just how, all the parents were being dumb and panicking. Like, I guess I wouldn't have stopped it. There's no way.
How old were you? 10?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was 2001. Yeah, so I'd be 10.
Yeah,
And they would have never expected a 10-year-old coming at him, though, Taylor.
Ooh,
They wouldn't have. And by the look of me, I was much older.
If you guys don't know, one of Taylor's claim to fame is hitting puberty at like 9.
Hit me like a train. Like, it's just like
Without exaggeration, could you have grown your current beard at 12?
No, I couldn't have done that.
No?
I definitely not at 12. I remember, though, because there was this one fucking weird autist at our school that got ripped on for everything. Like, he was just fucking strange and weird. And not even like the kind where it's like, oh, at least he's friendly. No, he wasn't friendly. He was a prick and retarded. And he started
because you guys were bullying him all the time. Jesus
no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
This is the meanest thing I've ever said about him right here. I actually had him over to play Halo more than one time because I felt so bad for him. I never made fun. Because he was the kid that I always thought, even later into high school and shit, like, I am always going to be nice to this kid. And I'm going to continue to be nice to him because if I'm going to be the guy in the parking lot, if he ever shows up with a gun, he'll go, Taylor, go home. And so I knew I'd be safe from that. I was always cool to that kid, but he was weird, and he started shaving in 8th grade, which was like way earlier than most people. And it was like the those like thick hairs that like you can step on and give yourself a splinter. Like sometimes I get those that'll come out of your beard, and he got those, and he did not take care of it. And people ripped on him all the time, being like, you have facial hair. It looks terrible. You look awful. You look gross, fatty. That had nothing to do with it, but they'd call him that too. And I remember being so afraid of being like that guy that I had my dad teach me to shave. And like all of 8th grade, I meticulously would shave to make sure nobody could tell that I was growing a bunch of facial hair. And then next year, everybody decided it was cool to start growing beards because one of the popular kids started growing a beard. And then I just let it go. And it didn't look great for a while. But man, I hope you're doing well out there, Guy. Last time I spoke to you, you helped me at I totally forgot about this. Last time I saw that guy was like 5 years ago. I was at a mall in St. Louis, and I was in the food court, and I went up to the Chick-fil-A, and I was waiting, and it was a set of like 3 cashiers because Chick-fil-A's are always busy. And as soon as I get in line, one of them leaves, and this motherfucker comes around the corner, and he recognizes me. And I get up to the front. He's like, Taylor, how's it going, man? I'm like, hey, pretty good. And he's like, that's good to hear. Really not going well with me. My mom died. I was like,
that's too bad, man.
Man, can I get a number 1 and a Diet Coke? Oh, that was the most uncomfortable I've ever been at a Chick-fil-A. Most of the time I feel very welcome knowing I'm safe. So
safe. Wow. They hate gay people.
From homosexuals.
Yeah, yeah, from all those mass shooting gays out there.
You gay, but yeah.
As if being gay is a bad thing, Woody. Maybe I am gay.
I'm such an
Woody
asshole.
had to stop and think for a second.
No, I held it back. I'm like, well, so here's my thought process, right? If black people can say the N-word and gay people can say the F word, that's why Taylor gets to say the R word. But we could throw the F in there to round the package out if he were gay.
See, F word doesn't work. Fuck already has that on lock. They got to think of the new thing.
Yeah.
The bundle
I'm actually, as your resident SJW, I'll tell you that the way that we say it is F slur. That's how people know that you're
okay.
referring. Yeah.
Me too, actually. Destiny, I think horseshoe theory is right. We talk about it so much that we've already figured out how to say it to each other.
Oh, there you go.
On my end, I use it so much in private that I have to have something to say in public. On Destiny's end, he's probably castigating people like me. But yeah, F slur. It feels good to say too.
Bare ass. Whew, I'd hate to take a caning.
Did you guys ever sneak extra clothes on when you were getting spanked as a kid, or was it always a bare ass to make sure there was no finagling around?
There was no warning on the Woody beatings. The Woody beatings came suddenly and by surprise. There was just oh fuck, what did I do? No, I was never able to prepare and slip a book in there. Like that didn't happen.
I was sentenced to like I don't remember if it was 3 or 5 swats and that's what they were called at our school. And a grown-ass man was going to hit you with a big fucking paddle is what it means. It's a paddle. It's kind of like a cricket bat. The paddle.
Is this college or in elementary school? It sounds like hazing.
This is middle school. This is middle
Jesus
school. I'm 13 or 14 at this point, like 8th grade. And the hitting part of the paddle is about 18 to 20 inches long, I would say, and like 3 or 4 inches wide, at least 4 wide. And it's got holes drilled in it.
Yeah, ours had holes in it too.
It's got holes drilled in it. And there's names. It was old, guys. It was old. It had that look around the edges where the wood had been worn and like sanded down from years of just use. And it looked
decades of
all
child
the wood
ass
shiny from like the oil of
Did you get your name on it if they beat
holes.
you?
There were names scrawled on it, but I was pretty shaky after the whooping, so I couldn't really.
Were they all? Was it so old that there were like old timey names on there? Like, you know, Edwin,
Abraham.
Abraham's a good one.
You know,
1832. And I just remember they sentenced me to these swats, and I was pretty afraid of it because I asked others, and they were like, "Yeah, it's no joke. You know, he doesn't. He really fucking hits you real hard in there. It hurts." And I was like, I don't like the sound of that. So they don't tell you when it's coming though. So for like a week, I'm wearing so many underwear, guys. I have so much underwear on that, like in the locker room at PE, I'm like, look at this, and I'm just showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got like it varied because my mom is like, Jesus, he's running through underwear.
Yeah.
Like,
Seems
so
like you could have just changed the inner.
Is your dad starting to know?
You could have rotated.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
13.
Man, Kyle's really developing into a hippie young man. You know, a lot of ass weight on that kid. Very pear-shaped.
From like 8 pair to 12 pair. It varied on the laundry cycle, but I just remember like there was one day when I was just like, today's not the day. It's a Friday. It wouldn't be today. It was that day, and I took a real licking with this one pair of underwear on, and I remember it. I didn't cry, but I could feel like that if I wanted to cry, I could cry. Like it really brought a tear to my eye. He hit me so goddamn hard. It hurt.
There was a
really
transfer student at my middle school.
Damn.
And he came from a school where beating was allowed. And like, so that was one of his first inquiries. He's like, did they beat you at this school? And we're all like, what? No,
What the fuck?
No, teachers don't hit you. He's like, yeah, not the teachers, the principal. When you go to the principal's office, does he beat you? There's no paddle. And we're like, this is ridiculous. So he told us all about the paddle. And what caught my attention was the culture around it. He's like, if you cry, everyone gives you a pass. It's like gay sex in prison. He's like, you know what? Like, you can't cry in school, but you can cry right here. There's different rules for this.
When you're being fucked in prison.
It doesn't. It doesn't
cry
make you a
about-
sissy to cry during the paddling, and it doesn't make you gay to have a little sex in prison.
You know,
Oh.
I
thought you meant okay.
I never got beat, but what I did have was in kindergarten. One of my earliest memories was I was getting bit by a kid in class. Like he'd bite my hand, and then I wouldn't like. It was obnoxious, I guess, because I'd tell somebody about it. But then the kid would bite himself and run to the teacher and say that I would bite him. So then it happened 2 or 3 times before they caught on. But during those 2 or 3 times, I'd have to go to the principal's office. She'd have a bowl of rice grains and she'd tip it over on the floor. And I have to pick up every rice grain and put it in this bowl while sitting behind the open door. Like it would shut into a triangle, like between the wall. And I'm on this stool. And I'm like a little kid just putting rice grains into this bowl. Once it was done,
What
I'd
else
give it
did
to him.
Professor Umbridge
That's
do?
torture.
Well,
Did
like,
they
what
yell
the
"fuck
fuck?"
Trump" while you did it?
Yeah, it was weird. And then I got taken out of that school. So my mom was like, "What is this?"
What
I
are
never
you
got
supposed
beat.
to- I can't imagine learning anything from being forced to
Time, 'cause it
Like,
takes a lot of effort.
Learned to count pretty high.
I don't have to go
Yeah.
back and do math as long as I'm picking up this rice. You know, 'cause
Younger
I'm
than
gonna have a very leisurely pickup rate if that's the case, ma'am.
Yeah.
I can't.
Eating the rice.
I never got paddled, but our elementary school teacher had exactly the thing you're talking about, Kyle. I don't remember it being as large as a
Old
paddle.
spanky.
It had holes in it, and it definitely did not have autographs of previous victims. That's pretty fucked. Like I don't know
That's my
why
favorite
they
part.
like. I like that because did they have like years next to it too?
I remember there being lots of stuff written on it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it just makes sense that it would be names. At the time, I don't think it really even occurred to me because I was terrified. But as I'm thinking about it, it definitely had shit written on
I
it.
feel like every time you get beat, you should sign it, right? And then you can be like, dude,
Like Woody from 1987 was a legend. His name's on here like 19 times.
Hash marks.
Like football players
down anymore.
Like college football players with their like touchdown stickers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, man, there's a fucking ton of Woodworth stickers on this thing.
Right? Like your children start getting on it. Like generations of bad behavior.
Yes. Man, that would have been a great. If we had stolen the paddle, that would have been a great prank. We should. Oh, that would have been cool. That would have been. Should have done that.
Did you ever have a good prank, like a good pull off of a prank in school, whether it was on like a fellow student or the faculty or whatever?
I got caught. I always got caught.
Did any of them get far enough to be funny?
Only if you think like stink bombing the entire school is funny.
I think that's pretty funny.
Well, yeah, I stink bombed the whole school. I went to the fireworks store and bought dozens and dozens of those little glass vial stink bombs. I cut a small hole in my pocket so I could walk down the hallway with a handful of these things, dropping them down my pants leg, letting those behind me stomp them and break them. Yeah, I would.
The prison yard.
Yep, exactly like that. Just like I was like smelly Andy Dufresne, just stinking up everything behind me as I went, and with no mercy. I would take them and we had metal desks. I guess everyone has the same fucking desk in the U.S., but they're heavy. And I would lift up the leg and put the stink bomb just under the leg, and it would stay. You sit in it, it's gonna break it. So I didn't want to be there when it went off. I was doing my best not to get caught. And somehow someone told on me, I'm sure. Someone ratted me out.
Sounds like you ratted yourself out first, right? That's step one. You tell your buddies that you're bad, and then your buddies tell someone else.
Something like that must have happened. Yeah, definitely so. But I just remember like Mr. Howell, the principal, being like, was it you? And me just, no, absolutely not. No, he's like, well, can we search your car? And I was like, yeah, let's go. And we start walking toward my car, and like 8 steps in, I go, my car's full of those things, just so you know. I thought you were bluffing, Mr. Howell, but
I do like that you made him walk out there. Yeah.
We're on our way. Yeah. I was like, yeah, let's go right now. Like,
yeah, I'm so enthusiastic about it. I'm hoping you don't bother.
As a matter of fact,
it's a long walk.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to run ahead and prepare the car for you.
And the worst part about it was that morning when I was going into school, I had this inkling in my head that because this was day 2 of stink bombing the school, I thought to myself, I should really take all my reserve stink bombs and hide them under the dumpster that I parked next to. I had it in my head to do it that morning. I took a few steps from my car, looked back at it, and I just didn't want to go back. I was like, I knew I should have done it. I knew I should have hid those things so that if it did go down, I'd be prepared. But alas, I got suspended for, I think, 3 days.
This is you hear about stuff like that. Sometimes the criminal wants to be caught. They want to be found. They want to orchestrate the grand stink bomb scheme, but upon seeing it happen, they realize I can't go on with no one knowing I was behind it. And so maybe unbeknownst to you yourself, you sabotaged your own mission that day. So everyone would know Kyle Myers, he mattered. He did something.
He was the guy.
He was the one who made it smell like rotten egg everywhere.
I never got caught for it, but we used to break into most people call it middle school. In Ocean City, they called it intermediate school, but it was middle school. And
you went to middle school in Ocean City?
Ocean City, New Jersey, yeah.
Oh, never mind.
And
different one.
Anyway, I forget exactly how we got there, but the second floor windows tended to be unlocked frequently. And you could go to like the chain link fence to they had these really well constructed downspouts, not like the one on your house, but these were like solid metal.
Yeah.
And so the chain link fence would get you like 2/3 up towards the roof, and then we could shimmy up the downspouts the rest of the way, and then all of the second floor windows were open. And once we figured this out, it became like a regular thing. Like we all would like. It was like, it's getting, twilight out. What do you want to do? Let's break into the school again. Like, yeah, fuck it. We
haven't spent enough time at school.
What did you do once you got in there? Did you steal anything? Even something like piddling, or did you break anything? What did you do?
Did you go in and do all the homework early to surprise your teachers?
Right, that sounds like me.
Grade all the papers for her.
We weren't vandals.
John is gonna be so mad.
We were trespassers, so we would go to the parts of the school that we otherwise couldn't go. Like we'd check out the teachers' lounge, we'd check out the principal's office, we'd open drawers and stuff and look
edgy.
at what edgy. I don't know. We were just idiots. I just wanted to see the things I wasn't allowed to see. I never broke anything or caused any real trouble. I was just I don't know,
looking at things I wasn't allowed.
You didn't go to like
see.
the girls' locker room and.
Oh
like,
yeah. No, we went to girls' locker rooms. We went to.
Did you go through their stuff and you can find their underwear?
No. We
You have
just
lots
saw,
on those.
we're like, oh, girls' bathroom. Like, hey, look, they've got a stall for every toilet. Like, well, I guess we install for every toilet. but
Crazy, right?
Like, you know, yeah. It's just like
I thought they just have a trough.
yeah. And
Just
oh,
a concave room.
the girls' showers. I felt this is an injustice. The showers had all curtains and everything, so the girls could all shower privately, while the guys were just treated like livestock. You know, with like heads
How
in an
sexist.
open area. Yeah. But like that's
how
the kind of
school
thing we
was,
do.
too. I never went into the girls' locker room, but I had a friend who went into the girls' locker room, and he said that they all got their own separate shower. And for the guys, it was basically just they shovel you into this big open room with a bunch of shower heads. And
We had both. We had a
that
mixture.
doesn't matter as much, but if only 5 of the 12 shower heads work, that's a problem.
Wait, what did you say? It doesn't matter as much?
I didn't care of just being in the big room.
Of course you didn't. You were puberty blessed, right? If your penis was small, like that of, say, a 7-year-old while you're still 14, you wouldn't like it as much. You'd have a much stronger
Let me
opinion.
borrow your soap.
But it just depends on priorities. Yeah,
Did you guys really use those showers in the entire time?
every
Not
single day.
once.
Every
I
single
did not
day.
know of a single person that ever used our school showers.
Only football players used the showers. The only
Not even
people-
them.
So and they didn't use them at school. They used them after school after their practice. Like there was never a situation where there were naked people showering during school hours. Maybe once or twice there was a
So
football player
weird.
who like because I had early morning like weightlifting class and there was a couple of football players in there and it's possible that one of them might have rinsed off once or twice, but like our showers were dirty and gross.
Yeah, they were
and, like,
nasty.
They seemed to the at least to my untrained eye to get used so little that there was like dirt on the floor in the shower room. And but there were a couple of divider walls. There was like maybe 8 shower heads where you just stood out in the open like prison style, and then there were a couple of divider walls where maybe 3 guys, if they wanted to, could find a
So
little privacy.
Nobody showered after PE.
We did.
No.
Or
No, we did not.
No, you just kind of lived with it. I mean, yeah, you might sweat a little bit, but at the
That's
end of the
crazy.
day, you know, yeah,
We had
I
like a
don't.
group thing. Like there'd be an activity, right? And if you did something that made you sweat, like crab soccer or something, then
yeah.
everybody showered. If you did something that didn't make you sweat, like archery, then nobody showered.
I showered after every single PE because I love hot showers. And I'm not gonna
Jealous
pass
of
it up.
archery.
You just love
Ice-
showing your dick off. That's what it is. You just like
Yes,
standing there.
you and your adult dick.
No,
Anyone
but
had a dad dick at age 12.
Yeah,
those-
his hairy
that-
chest.
It was the
His
complete
adult
opposite
dick
of what
at
you guys are
12.
describing. You guys, like in my school, you were a weirdo if you didn't shower. Like if you were sitting in like third hour and I
Smelly.
smelled somebody and I knew I had PE with them, I'd be like, dude, what the hell? Like you smell bad. Like you either are you're covered in Axe trying to cover up BO, or you just said screw it and didn't like. We'd give like shit to people who would go and like do wrestling or basketball or whatever, and then go and not shower. It's like, dude, you're gross. Like, you really think chicks are cool with you just smelling like an asshole the rest of the day? Like, wouldn't you rather smell? I just didn't see the reason to not want to shower. First of all, if you had PE early in the day, it was great because you don't have to shower before you get to school. You just go straight, have PE, and then you do your daily shower after PE, and then go to class. I did that my entire second semester senior year. It was great.
The very idea of that is so like off-putting to me. The idea of my morning shower ritual now being at school where like anything could go wrong. Maybe class goes too long and I don't get to wash my
there
ass.
was a scheduling error my second semester senior year, and so I had study hall following my PE. And so I could get there PE, and then everybody else was like, oh shit, we got to shower real quick. And I was like, I'm taking my sweet time. I would bring a plastic chair in and point all the working hot showers at me, and I would sit there. I actually did that my senior year. I would make the freshmen wait to shower until after I was done for a while. I'd just sit on this like throne and make them all wait. That was that was kind of shitty.
Kids turning the corner. You're just sitting, all the shower heads pointed, man spread. Your dick's just on the chair. You're just staring at it like, you can wait right
direction.
there, son.
Who's got shampoo for me? You know,
Apply it. Thing. We would whoever took the first shower. The first guy to shower, his responsibility was to turn on every shower so that the second guy could walk right into hot water.
Right.
Comb my chest hair, boy.
I feel like you guys had
See, I didn't grow up with brothers, so I didn't get to play any games like that and do stuff like that unless I had a friend over or something.
Yeah.
I never got that stuff. So most of the games and stuff I did, I had to find stuff that I could do by myself. So I was in, video games or like play some make believe where you're like the ship commander and you've got all your house's electronics just pushing fucking buttons on a VCR like you're fucking flying a spaceship. It was rough. That's why I got into guns. There wasn't much else to do.
Nothing else to do.
I went to
Did
this
you
guy's
ever do
house
that when
once.
you were a kid, where your parents were like, "All right, outside time," and you're just like, "All right, I'm just gonna kind of walk into the woods. What can I imagine? What am I? Oh, I'll be Aragorn, or I'll be," and you just make up a story.
Nah, that's super lame.
What? No, you didn't play pretend. You had a vivid imagination. I have a vivid imagination.
Taylor, so you were just kicked outside and meant to go play
all the time. Yeah, it would be like, "All right, outside time," and I'd stand there with my brother and be like,
somehow
we get airsoft, we could go in the woods.
Disappeared after I became a parent. We've never been able to just be like, "All right, kids, get out."
It wouldn't let us come back in until it was dark.
Oh, straight up. Yeah, Taylor, I had those same rules. Yeah, it was like, there's no way you're watching TV on Saturday
morning. I tried
morning.
to pop back in at like 4 to be like, "Oh, I'm going to grab a soda." They'd be like, you thought we wouldn't be in the kitchen and you're going to try and watch TV. And it's like, bitch.
Yeah, I got a sister, so I grew up in a world without violence. But I think there's 9 boy cousins on my Mexican side. I remember when, I think we were like 10 through probably 17, and we were all hanging out at a family reunion. We were all hanging out at my parents' house, and we found 2 pairs of boxing gloves in the garage. I don't know why my parents had them. They should have locked them up like fire extinguishers when all of us were around. But it was, we put them on and decided to do some amateur boxing in the garage, even though there was like 2 years between all of us. One of the sets was these comically large 16-ounce gloves, and the other ones were like these little 8-ounce gloves.
Yeah.
So bigger kids, when we were we weren't working on our smarts, said that we were, kind of cobbling together smarts, but we thought that because the bigger kids were stronger, that they should have the smaller gloves, and the little kids, because they were lacking in power, should have the big gloves. That
it works like a video game, like buffs.
Yeah. So it was. The first fight was like my oldest cousin and his brother, and it was a really savage beatdown that I still remember. Those whipping those spider arms with 8-ounce gloves down on his little brother, punishing him with the impunity of, well, we both agreed to this, so it's totally fine. That didn't last long. That was a day.
I lived in Ocean City, so I was probably about 14 or so, and I made a friend who was strong. Right, he hit puberty and just fucking hulked out, even though he was 14, and he was my friend. I, on the other hand, looked 11. So he came over, and my brother was like, just being an older brother, like low grade bullying or whatever.
How much older is he than you?
2 years. Okay. And my friend is like, "What? Oh, no, that's not how this goes." And my friend is more than happy to engage with my older brother. Even though he's 2 years older, he's like, "I'm your Huckleberry." So we end up like 2v1ing my brother. We hold him down. We're giving him cherry belly.
Cherry belly.
Oh, yeah.
Pink bellies.
My brother had a bit of a weight problem, so it was like just like rocking his
belly.
But
tell me, Woody, the whole time you were slapping, were you chanting "pink belly, pink belly, pink"?
It's cherry belly in my area, but okay, yeah, and just all sorts of just like bullying. Like, we didn't hurt him, but I got to win. So my
you
parents,
heard him. He thinks about this every night before bed.
Oh, well, to hang in there. So my parents are like, Woody, we don't like that you guys did this. And I'm like, what? What? I've been losing fights for 14 years. You didn't think shit about that. What the fuck? I finally win a fight and now we have rules? No, that's not how this goes. And they're like, touche.
Kick their ass.
Yeah. They were like, yeah, I guess we let him kick your ass for 14 years. You win. Fair is fair.
It panned out.
Yeah. So
that man hears cherry. If he hears cherry belly tonight, he's gonna fucking flinch,
dude. I don't know. You fuck with the same guy for decades. You deserve it.
How about another joke?
What every school shooter says.
That's what every school shooter says. What do you get when you take a socially distant loner and put him in a society that abandons him? This is what. then he.
Is this from the Joker? It sounds like.
Yeah.
Another great movie. I need to rewatch that again. Really.
Do you
good.
get along better with younger siblings, Woody, with your shared trauma?
I only have an older brother. Did that answer your question?
No, like other people who are the younger one. Do you get along with them?
Well, no, maybe. My wife's the youngest.
There you go. Yeah.
Really
whenever I meet an older sibling, I'm like, yeah, fuck them, right? Fuck the little ones. Yeah, totally. All right.
Fuck the little ones. Yeah.
They fucking don't. They bitch all the time. They bitch all the fucking time. They don't understand how much trail had to be blazed by us.
Pin them down for 14 years and abuse them, and now they're like, stop it.
I remember just the amount of shit my brothers would get away with that never would have flied when I was their age. I remember my youngest brother was in 4th grade. He's 7 years younger than me. And he was going to some school, and maybe halfway through the school year, my mom was like, this school fucking sucks. We're taking him out. And my dad's like, what do you mean we're taking him out? Like, just leave him in there until the next school year and we'll switch the schools. And she was like, nope, I'm going to homeschool him for the rest of the year. We're taking him out. And he was so young at the time, but he still had the cognition to be like, this is a fucking dope deal for me. And he knew that she would be too busy with other stuff or just not wanting to teach. And so she would give him things like, she told him, hey, you need to read Tom Sawyer and write a book report on it. And I remember going down there one day, and she would give inordinately long amounts of time because she didn't want to teach him to do these projects. She'd be like, you got a month, read Tom Sawyer and write a book report. And I remember going down there once and seeing him and opening it up and seeing him looking back at me, hoping it wasn't his mom or dad as he's playing with his Legos. And he's like,
Jesus,
Taylor, I got to be honest with you. I haven't read any of Tom Sawyer. I've been playing with Legos for 8 weeks.
Your brother's
and I was
awesome.
I was like, you know what that means, of course. I need you to go get me a soda. And so for the longest time, like months and months after that, even when he was back in regular school, he spark noted and wrote something. And I don't even think my mom read the book to see if he did. And so anytime we wanted something from him, he was at the age where he thought even 2 years later when he was 10 or whatever, he still thought that was a huge deal. So it'd be like, just code word. We'd say, get this for me. No, screw you. Tom Sawyer. And then he would go and do it for years.
See, I misunderstood. I thought when you told him to go get you a soda, you were sitting down to write him a book report because you're a good brother.
No, I was saying go get me a soda or I'm going to tell mom and dad that you've been faking reading this whole thing.
I thought you were like, I read it 3 years ago. Go get me a soda. I'll start to work. No. You're just immediately segueing to blackmail.
Yeah, and it worked. I got a lot of sodas and snacks.
That's older sibling vibe right there. I knew right away, Taylor. Oh yeah. You got him. You got him right where you want him.
He's fucking dead to rights.
You're done, kid.
Yeah. He'll even look back now and be like, do you guys remember when you just made me do chores for you for years because of Tom Sawyer? I was like, yeah, you should have just read the fucking book, dude.
Jackie's sisters, she was the youngest of three, and they always did nice things for each other. You know, if you wanted, one would just be like, hey, will you make me a tea? And they're like, yeah, sure, I can do that. 30 years later, I'm still on that train. I could ask her for a coffee right now. She does it. It's just the culture in their family. It's nice.
What nice people.
Yeah.
How odd.
How odd. Oh, Kyle, you are so calculated. Like you wouldn't have done exactly what I did.
It would depend if I'd read Tom Sawyer before. It seems like it's going to be more conducive to like a good living environment if I write the book report for him, which would be easy for me. And then he would just do things for me because I wrote him a book report.
And you have stronger blackmail. He eventually wrote his own book report, right?
No, he lifted from SparkNotes.
Jesus Christ!
Like just straight up.
So homeschooling didn't go so well, huh?
No, he went back to school the next year, and this is the same brother who he was like he actively didn't want to do well in grade school. It'd be like 3rd, 4th grade, and it'd be like you're about to fail 4th grade. Like how? And he's like, I'm just not doing any of the homework. And they're like, yeah, you're not doing it. Do you not know how to do it? He's like, no, I know how to do it. Like, but so you're just not doing it. Correct.
That was me in high school.
Like, they told him, like, yeah, he just was like, I don't fucking care, and would not do the schoolwork, and would go in with like a folder full of undone work every day, throw it in front of the teacher that he hated, and be like, and like his punishment at one point for that, this was before he got pulled out of the school, was every day you come home from school, you go in your room and you read the Bible until dinner, and then you go to bed. And he had hundreds of dollars of Legos in his room. And once again, after like a month of that, of continued punishment, I would like walk in on accident or not knocking first, and just he would admit like, hey, Taylor, I haven't read even a page of the Bible. I don't know how mom and dad don't know what's going on, because every time they come in here, this like dope castle I'm building gets better and better.
Don't you think they knew? Don't you think they go there, read the Bible, was code for get out of my hair?
I could just see like my dad getting home from a stressful day at work and just being like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to go enjoy my dinner and sit down with a glass of wine or something. But yeah, he got away with murder. That would have never flown for me. Like if I got like a B minus.
Try?
No.
Did you test them?
Never. Like I was always pretty good with school. I would get stressed out if I didn't have tasks completed. And so I would like go through my list and get stuff done. And then I would enjoy myself. I never understood how he could do that, how anyone could do that. Like in college, I had so many friends who ended up dropping out because they'd be like, yeah, it's Sunday night, just off a 3-day drinking bender, huge paper due in the morning, don't care, right, boys? And it's like, what's wrong with you? Like, you know how, this isn't free. Like, this is really expensive to be here, man. Like, you're just throwing money in the toilet if you're not passing your classes. But anyway, that was good times, good times. Everyone should have younger siblings. Or siblings. I feel bad for only children because they don't. They're just doing nothing.
When I was like 4, my little sister fell in the swimming pool and she was drowning, and I got my dad's attention and he saved her life. I've regretted that moment for almost 3 decades.
30
now.
years.
Yeah. 30 years later, if I could go back, if I could just have that one fucking Marty McFly moment where I could go back and fix things. That's the moment I'm going back to. And I find little Kyle and he's like, Daddy. And I'm just like,
grab the wrist. Kyle, why are you throwing flotation stones at your sister? Yeah, that'd be it. Yeah. And then you could have been an only child.
Yes. Oh, that would have been so much better.
Double the inheritance. Fucking everything.
She doesn't get anything.
Oh. Well, I'm not privy to your father's will.
I am.
It's good that he has a will. Yeah. Everyone should make a will because it's a pain in the ass for everyone around you if you die and you don't have a will.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah. You should do that.
What about like a riddle will? Do you recommend that at all?
That's the funniest possible. I can't. Dude,
wrong social security numbers and stuff like that.
No, it's just
a riddle
actual riddles.
He who casts 3 stones gets the card.
I want to have a push-up contest.
That would be the ultimate thing if you're like a billionaire with a will. Just a fake puzzle. A fake puzzle that doesn't lead anywhere. That would be hilarious.
I got beaten. I remember my mom
So that's what happened.
beat me one time so bad that I shit my pants.
Wow.
And
all right, can you just stop the fucking show right now? We need to have like an intervention, right? like don't we need to like get a third party in here to help evaluate? You got beaten so hard you shit your pants.
I did.
Now,
No, this happened.
Like, wait. Just to set a standard, Kyle, when I say that I got like beat or hit as a kid, you understand it to be like a wooden spoon when I was bad, right? Or your palm. Open hand or a wooden spoon, not beating a kid until he poops himself. So give us this. No.
I don't remember what I did exactly, but I think it was showing some kind.
The beaters are listening right now.
Yeah, they listen to the show, but it doesn't hold me back that much. They, I think it was like I showed some measure of disrespect, right? And so she's beating respect into me, and like just beating and screaming and like just like having at me, and I shit my pants, and in my head, my first thought was like, oh my God, is there really shit in my pants? And then like there's that sort of warm, comforting shit in your pants that like I was like, all right, this is like mildly pleasant, but oh no. And yeah, that was me as a kid. So
Can you give the age?
Yeah. Well, oh, age?
18.
7. You know?
7, okay.
Yeah. And
man.
so she's beating the fuck out of me at 7. I shit my pants and I'm like, no. When she finds this out, it's just going to get worse, right? When she finds out that I shit my pants, she's going to ramp this up to next level and now I'm totally fucked. Like, oh no. And I start crying and you know, and through my sobs, I tell her that I pooped myself. And but the unexpected happens. She goes easy on me, and she feels bad that she beat me so much that I pooped myself. And now I'm like, wait a minute. Is this a strategy for future beatings? Like, is this a thing that I can, like, reproduce on demand to end beatings sooner than they would have otherwise ended? So...
So you were starting to plan like preemptive shits where you're like, you know, I'm gonna get a little ornery this weekend, so I'm gonna load up so I have a quick
fiber, lots of fiber for the weekend. I'm gonna be a bad boy.
She's talking to your dad. Now he's just shitting before I even hit him like a dog would. You know.
So she instantly had. I mix up sympathy and empathy. I need to hit the dictionary, but she instantly has some sympathy for me, and you know, like whatever, retrieved clean clothes, and I sorted it out, and like it was the move to solve the problem.
That is child abuse.
So wait.
What you call child abuse, I call childhood. All right.
Oh, wait, that's like the nature. So these
most victims do.
Make that your fucking Reddit tagline thing.
I'm such
your
a
flair.
puss. I'm like such a pussy now. All the stories of like, man, then I got a real whooping. It's like very measured. Like you get 5 whacks with the spoon and like that.
When I was
describe
7,
the nature of these hits. Like were these open hand, closed hand, like in the stomach and the head and where were you getting hit?
There wasn't a particular aiming going on. I'm like cowering, you know, and she's hitting me. She might hit me in the shoulder, in the back, in the ass. In my bedroom. I was in my bedroom.
Are you in the corner, cowering in fear?
There's a corner made from the bed and the wall, and I'm in that corner. Yeah, and so I'm not on the bed.
I want to try something here. Let's recreate it and see if Woody shits himself. So she's looming over you, right? She's big and powerful. The blows are raining down on you. Too many to count. You feel a strong pain everywhere, all over your body. But then there's something else. An urge. You can't stop. It's warm and smelly, and the shame fills your heart. But the blows just keep coming.
Yeah, I remember I told the story to my wife not that long ago. It was in my head for some reason. And she's like, I feel so bad for little Woody. Like you know, the child version of you. She's like, it's just sad. And I'm like, what? You didn't get this?
Oh, man. The kids that got that, they take away.
I've never hit my kids, not once. I don't even soap them. That's not my thing. I figured out early that if I use like
my dad would throw 3 or 4 of those in a pillowcase. Just really give it to you.
My wife, she would use she put on her 2 fingers and she'd put like liquid soap on there. I remember the first time ever, I've told this before, my daughter was back talking like hardcore, right? She's like, I don't know, I'll call it 6 or 7, I'm not sure. And she's just yelling at my wife like, hi. And Jackie, like a ninja, has like liquid soap on there and she goes, whoosh, and she soaps her tongue. And then Hope kept yelling and she blew a bubble. It's the greatest thing ever. But I never had to soap because I could get them.
A child that shits itself.
Yeah,
that's a real generational gap, you know.
I could get my children to cry by yelling at them. You know, just
of course you could. A little emotional abuse, a little really terrorize.
It's not like I do this much,
tears out of a child.
But like, you know, all I need to do is be stern with them for like 10 seconds in a row or something, and they would get into tears. So with that, like,
that's what you want. That's how you know you've won.
Okay, man, I don't know. I feel like my kids are gonna tell the story like my dad yelled at me for 10 seconds until the tears went, and their kids are gonna be like, "Oh my god, what a monster!" But yeah, that's all I've ever had to do. Like,
have any of us ever had mental health
I know Anthony
professional.
probably has a couple good stories about taking a few savage beatings from the
Can
dad.
you beat my
right?
stories, Anthony?
Actually, when I was about that age 7 or so, my dad would use the belt, and he would threaten us by hanging it on the doorknob sometimes if me and my brother were talking when we should be sleeping. He would hang it on the doorknob and go, next time I come in. So we, of course, would be stupid and keep talking. Or for another reason sometime. He'd come in with the belt and give you the talking beating, which every word is like, don't you ever do that. And you're like, oh, please, keep this short.
I'm glad Dad's vocabulary isn't
You're really praying for single syllable words during a meeting like that.
Right.
Jesus, Mom, lighten up on the verbiage.
So then when he and my mom got divorced and he left, my mom figured she'd pick up, where he left off with the belt when we acted up. And so she was hitting me once with the belt, don't you do whatever it was. And my father would fold the belt over like that, a double strap, and use that. Mom didn't know how to use it, so she had the long belt holding it by the buckle, and she hit me a couple of times, and it whipped around, and if this thing didn't perfectly go whack right on the tip of my little dick, just bam! I let out a scream. She thought she had killed me. She threw the belt down. What? I was like, I couldn't even talk. And my little dick blew up because it was wounded. And that was it. She never again picked up the belt.
Oh, you lucky
bitch. Woody was never sexually assaulted. That's you.
I took a dick hit from a plastic shark from my mom when I was maybe 4.
On purpose? She hit you with a plastic shark?
Yeah, I was like, my brother was down on the floor and I was very young. And for some reason, I was so young, I didn't have thoughts. I just knew that I wanted to bite his back severely. And so I bit his back a few times while my mom was on the phone, and my mom had to run over and be like, Taylor, stop! And she grabbed the big plastic toy shark that I had in my hand, and I'm naked because I was a free little boy. And so I was running around in that little circle where they're trying to whip you, but you kind of getting out of range until she kind of did that, adult gets tired of your nonsense and use a little adult strength and, snap the kid back around. And she gave me a solid wallop, and she immediately turned her attention to my brother because his back was bleeding because I had bit him. And I just sat there and just apparently gave out the most blood-curdling scream. And then she was like, Taylor, shut up! You stop! And I just sat there weeping, pointing at my dick area, and apparently my scrotum swelled up gigantic, and she had to call the doctor and be like, is it gonna go down on its own, or do I need to come in for a deflation procedure? I don't know what's going on.
God damn.
If it gets ruptured, you'll know, but he'll be fine in a little bit. Just let it settle down. And it did.
My mom threw a high-heeled shoe at me one time, and it took a bad bounce. It took a bad bounce, and the heel of it hit me right here on the cheek and drew blood. Nice. And I was just like, look what you did. Look what you did. And she felt terrible, of course. I was like, I because I knew, you can't fucking hit your kid in the face and make it bleed. So I was just like, look what you did. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? I'm the crazy one? I'm the irresponsible one? What if it'd been my eye, Mom? How cool would I look with an eye patch right now? Yarr! Fuck you, Mom! There were a lot of times
dude,
moms are the worst disciplinarians because they're often weaker than their offspring, so they're not good at it. And you have no respect for them because of that fact. My dad comes around and it's whooping time. It's like, shit, I'm crying before he gets there. I hope he doesn't use the belt this time because he's a big dude and he wears a big belt. But Mom comes, she's got to have a weapon. She's got a shoe. She's got a plastic coat hanger.
She's got a kitchen armory.
My mom would beat me, and I'm totally.
I like that you said the high-heeled shoe took a bad bounce. I can't imagine a high-heeled shoe taking anything but a bad bounce.
Exactly.
They just can't quite.
I would get beaten, right? And I'm a real pale, pasty white kid and stuff. And I'd be like, look at this. And there's 5 distinct fingers on the side of my face. Or I'd show her my ass, look how red it is. And they're like, yeah, that's what we were going for. What, I'm supposed to feel bad about my success?
And having fingerprints on your face, that would be upsetting to me as a child to get slapped in the face by my parents.
Yeah, I never got slapped in the
Did you
face.
just get used to it, Woody, or was it regular, irregular enough? Or I guess was it regular enough that you got used to it, or so irregular that it was impactful every time? Oh Jesus, they slapped me again.
I
like it wasn't that like, oh my god, there's fingers on my face. It's, oh my god, I'm such a bad kid. Like that was.
I'm so sorry.
That is sad.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for little kid Woody.
And it was somewhat unpredictable too. Like I remember I went to a friend's house.
What's the statute of limitations on child abuse?
That's what you want with a disciplinarian.
Harsh Hutchinson right now.
Unpredictable.
I spilled milk at a friend's house. Now at my house, that was not a good thing to be doing, right? Like if you knock your drink over or something, like why were you so careless? And I'm like, oh my God, like, holy shit, like, what the fuck is about to go down? I don't even know this person. And she said it was okay. And she cleaned the spill and she cleaned the bottom of the glass because that was a thing. Like, my mom would clean the spill, but then I get in trouble for, like, because the glass was still dirty on the bottom. And she's like, now, look, you're leaving rings around. But I'm young and I'm stupid. Like, I don't know to clean the bottom of the glass. And, you know, so, like even after it's clean, it's not over yet because I'm still leaving like things under the glass, like little rings.
Yeah.
And
now, was this a time in your parents' life where losing a glass of milk was, hey, we can't be doing that. That's expensive milk.
My dad was professionally successful.
So we're talking about a kind of thing where milk is just
kept a
worthless,
clean home.
and if we needed to, we could buy 500 gallons tomorrow and pour it out, and nobody would ever know the difference.
Well, we didn't waste money, but.
Oh, of course not. Or you got a beating.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
and you certainly didn't waste milk.
But when the friends, when they cleaned the thing and then they cleaned the bottom of the glass and it was all over, I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. Like, yeah. And then there were times I wouldn't get in trouble. I remember I knocked over a potted plant and I'm like, oh my God, here it comes. Oh my God. Like I'm about to catch a whooping. And she recognized it as a mistake and let it slide.
They did some psyops shit to you, man. They were really fucking with you physically and psychologically.
This is like a behind the music Woody's gamer tag. Like seeing the origin story, like, oh wow, like spilling milk. I can't imagine as a little kid spilling milk and being like, oh, it's about to get real. Like a wet company isn't over.
Can I I don't know about everyone else's childhood, but if I had spilled a glass of milk, that held zero consequences.
It was a mistake.
Zero, none. Everybody was like, "Oh shit, you spilled your milk. Well, here, have some more, little guy. Let's clean that up for you."
Little guy.
Yeah. Right? It wasn't like you're gonna shit yourself tonight.
You think milk grows on trees? You know.
I was a bad kid
Next time
though.
you're buying it.
I remember. So it was 5th grade, and I had this teacher, Mrs. DiMaggio or something called DeLorean, I don't know. And so what happened is she had made this chart for my parents to like sign that I did my homework because I wasn't doing my homework. I really was a bad kid. And I started forging my mom's name, and I just about convinced, I guess, the teacher that my mom had really childish handwriting. And we came in, and I had missed something like 27 days of homework in a row. And the teacher explained, she's like, Woody's not stupid, right? He's not a dumb kid. I have other kids in here, and I feel for them because they just don't get it. He gets it, but he won't work at all. Like, I've been teaching for 32 years, and he is the single worst student that I have ever had in my 32 years of teaching. I heard this and I felt pride. Like really, number one? Like in 32 years? That's quite like no one's ever like dodged work as hard.
Because you were so damaged from that home abuse where you're like, well, I may not be the best guy at keeping milk in my cup or, you know, not breathing too loudly when I sleep, but man, I'm at least the most difficult student this woman's ever had.
So,
you know, I'll latch onto that.
After this like little parent-teacher conference thing, we go back to the car. And my mom's like selling real estate on the side at the time. It actually, so my father was like this real estate wheeler dealer type guy in addition to being an accountant, and he realized that he could get out of all the brokerage fees if my mom got her real estate license. So she was doing that, and she was also kind of, I guess, selling a little bit of, you know, houses here and there and stuff. So anyway, the point behind that is that she gave away these snow scrapers. You know the little plastic like foot-long snow scrapers? Yeah, well, she had like a dozen of them like put together with a couple rubber bands. And we get to the car, and I'm in the passenger seat, like up front. And I'm like, in the school, I felt like we had kind of worked out a plan going forward, like where she was going to check my homework and I was going to be a better kid.
and she starts beating the fuck out of me with this bundle of scrapers, and she's hitting me, and she's hitting me, and she said that I made her look bad. And I'm like, it's not you. I'm just a really bad kid. Like, there's nothing that you could do. And she would just beat the fuck out of me with those ice scrapers.
Like Jerry Lundegaard and Fargo.
Yeah.
I don't know the scene. But
bastard.
Now, hang on.
That is such a good comparison.
Was that the same teacher that thought that you were retarded?
No. That was 3 years later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just making
the
sure.
retarded one. The retarded one was 3 years earlier. This is 5th grade. You're thinking of 2nd.
I want to have like a professional come in on the show as our guest next week.
Yeah. And then the fans would give me shit for retelling stories.
Dark shit.
Dark shit. What was the single worst beat? I guess to Anthony and Woody, because I'm sure you both have a good one. What was the single worst one you ever took from your dad, mom, whoever gave it to you worst?
I think the worst one, and it wasn't even because I never really got beaten badly. Like, it was always the belt as a kid, but once I got a little older, they just stopped altogether doing that. But once my dad in California, when I was living out there with him, and I was about 13, I guess, and my father was like the worst. We went like days without food, and we had a gas lantern in our apartment because the electricity was turned off again. It was just terrible. So I was starving, and I stole some quarters to buy ice cream sandwiches with. I was just like starving, and he found out that I had taken him, and he couldn't fathom that I bought anything to eat with it. He thought I was buying like model rocketry or something, model rockets or whatever it was. So he open hand smacked me in the face. And I never got hit in the face as a kid, ever. It was always just with the belt. So that one was the most traumatic. That was like a man just hit me in the face. It was frightening. That one stands out.
My father didn't really hit me. Like sometimes what would happen is I'd be bad while my dad is at work, and my mom would decide like, all right, like, we're going to upgrade this to dad. And then I would just sit there in like fear all day long. Like, holy shit, I'm about to kick an ass kicking. I'm about to catch an ass kicking from a grown man. Like, this is going to really suck. And then my dad would get home and he'd be like, he did what? Like, do we have to? Like he didn't really agree that this was you gotta really fucking lay the beat down on this. He would spank me sometimes, and that would suck because when my mom beat me, usually there was like some level of defense and cowering and like shielding blows or whatever. My dad, he'd be like,
bob and weave.
I think he made me pull down my pants. I'm not sure about that. And I would have to lay over his lap, and then he would spank me.
See, that's the difference between a punishment and an assault.
I really wasn't a fan of either of them, to be honest with you. But
no, but when your dad was spanking you, I'm sure that you felt like at no point is he going to lose control and like just catch me in the jaw. Like,
that
this
was
is
a difference. Yeah,
spank.
My
and
father
your mom was just like, this scraper could hit me in the eye with the next swing.
Because mom is angry. She's not hitting you because, oh, well, he did A, B, and C. So the measured response is 7 swats on the bottom. Your mom has lost control of herself and gone into a rage. And to take care of her own like inner anger and loss of self-control, she's taking it out on a child to the point where he shits himself.
I was a bad kid, though.
That doesn't matter. Like there's plenty of. I got a bad puppy, but I never stomped it out. Like you just fucking scoop up the poop and just realize it's a puppy. Like he's learning. That's my. Oh, I feel so bad.
Yeah, I feel bad too, especially because you're still. I can't tell if you're just doing it for like the bit, or if you actually like. But I really was a bad kid. Like,
yeah.
No, you didn't deserve that. Let me be the first to say
like a rape victim. Well, I was wearing that a really short skirt, and I am kind of a whore. Maybe I deserved it. My dad raped me too. Maybe I do deserve it. Maybe
when Taylor asked about the worst beating we caught, one day, like 2 friends and I decided to pick on my older brother. Now, in fairness, sometimes that was reciprocated and stuff. I always felt a little put down, a little under his thumb. I'd probably do it to Taylor if I was his little brother too. But we decided to just fuck with all his shit. Like he had a radio that I envied. They would play FM radio. So we put that under the garage door and like slammed it repeatedly. We each had a swing. So we had a swing set with 2 swings, and like one was kind of his and one was kind of mine.
but it was all rusty, like the chains. So when you knotted it up, like curled it too much, it would get all like, I don't know, like a well-maintained swing chain will just sort of come unraveled. His was fucked up. Like we took the rusty chain, spun it around, put it through itself, sat on it, and maybe another thing or two. You know, I ruined some of my brother's shit, and the beating I caught for that was maybe the worst one ever. It was just same thing but longer. You know, like it is like. I'm on the ground. She's hitting. She
kicking. Had her Wheaties that morning.
Yeah, I'm just doing like this kind of shit, you know. And she's kicking and punching and chewing, and that was a bad one.
Chewing.
Yeah, hit with a shoe. What would you call it?
Oh, shoeing. I thought you said chewing.
I would call
like
it
she was biting
with a shoe.
Yeah.
Tobacco. Yeah, spitting it.
No, she didn't.
Chewing.
She never bit me or anything. But yeah, that's why I turned out so great.
This has been eye-opening.
To just have one of those, like you brought up the time machine before, but instead of going back in time, you put your now self in your childhood body, and as your parents hitting you, you know what it's really like. Like most of it was just shock that it was happening. So if you realize what's happening and your older self was in the kid body, you could just sit there and go, "Really? Is that it?"
Yeah.
That's what you do?
Can I get back to my Fisher Price?
Dude, the adult me of today could work some sort of reverse psyops, right? Like, yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to, like, you know, you take these hits and you're like, really? You seem out of control right now. You have lost it. Is this the kind of mother that you aspired to be when you first had children? Did you think that you were going to go down like... Yeah, the adult me talking back.
Are you really...
Mom, I'm going to need you to take 5.
Or are you doing something else to make yourself feel better by doing this? Talk to me about it. You can hit me at the same time, but let's talk about, oh God.
Yeah.
Trouble in the bedroom with Dad?
No, that's never it. Jesus, that's never it with them. Even now, they're knocking on the door 70.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you moved out decades ago. They got to get that rage out somehow. Oh, well, this has been enlightening.
Let me now that we've finished the part about Woody's child abuse, let me tell y'all a little bit about Tracker.
Yeah.
They're gonna beat me again for telling these stories.
Exactly. I got my head stapled up as well.
You did? How'd that happen?
I fell out of a shopping cart when I was younger, and you know those things you like hang items on at, say, Walmart? It sort of juts out from the wall. That like ripped the top of my head open. Like I sort of went head first into that, and it like started here somewhere and like just dug a trench in the top of my fucking head when I was, I don't know, 4 or 5, something like that. I can remember it. I can remember like being with my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, and my little sister. I'm not sure what city we were in, maybe Athens, Georgia, but we were in a Kmart. I remember that much because that was a thing back then. And I remember them having me in the bathroom and like freaking the fuck out, looking at my head. And then I remember like going into surgery. I remember the anesthetic. And I remember 4 or 5. And I remember the dream that I had under anesthetic as like a 4-year-old. There was a black man. It's total darkness. I'm in a void with a floor. It's just, you can't tell if the room is 100 feet wide or infinite or infinity. And there's a bright light coming from straight up, straight down, illuminating just where we're standing. And I'm the only one standing there. And there's an old black man in like a cartoon style bird cage, the kind that's flat on the bottom and comes up and, you know, like folds together like Tweety would be in a cartoon. And this black man is up above me, standing inside this bird cage with light coming down around him and spilling down onto me and illuminating me. And he's telling me everything's going to be okay. And that was the dream that I had under anesthesia as a 4-year-old, but I can still remember it very clearly.
It's weird how stuff like that happens. Like, do you have any memories from when you were young, like 6 or 7 or whatever, where like you were at, say, like, I don't know, like a hockey game. Like I was at a Blues game or something, and like I saw something, like a guy spill a beer intentionally on another guy, and you just, in your own head, almost cognitively, you're like, I will remember this
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you imprint it, and then years later, like even now, it's like, well, fuck, like I still haven't forgotten that. Like I was so young.
It's because you bring that up so
remember
often. It's because you bring that file back up so many times in your brain that you're tricking yourself into thinking that this is a long, old, forgotten memory. Not forgotten, but an old memory. But what it is you're just recalling every other time that you've pulled that file back up in your brain and reinforced that memory. And you know, big memories are like that. Sometimes they don't seem big, but they had an impact on you on that day. I totally know what you're thinking about or describing, because there's all these little innocuous events from childhood, whether it's 5-year-old me, 8-year-old me, 12-year-old me, where I remember like a day or half a day, and I'm like, why am I remembering that day? What was so important about the day I went over to that guy's house and everybody was in the backyard in that above ground pool?
Those
and,
spheres are stored closer to the control panel. And I learned this in Inside Out, and they're core memories.
Sure. Okay. I haven't seen Inside Out. I think maybe it's a cartoon and you're mocking me.
Oh, that's the one where all the little gremlins are up in the brain being like, oh, we don't want to do that. Like
it's actually a really good movie.
Another cool representation of how our brains work. If you ever read Stephen King's Dreamcatcher, or you watch the movie, which isn't quite as good with Morgan.
Read the book.
Yeah, the movie's good too. The book is better. I read the book after I watched the movie, and I was like, "Ooh, I like this." I have archetypes in my head for what these characters look like. I know what they look like. You're not Jonesy, the way that they visually show off the inside of this man's brain in the movie is pretty interesting. I like that.
My daughter cut her head open like Kyle did. So I pulled up a picture.
Of her head?
Nope.
Oh.
This is a park bench. And so I was playing ice hockey. This is, she was like 3, I think. And there were a bunch of these benches kind of in like a waiting area, not far from the rink. And I guess my wife was letting her climb on the benches. It's not like there was anyone else on them. And she fell over and she hit her head on the edge of the like concrete arm. For people watching or maybe just listening to the audio, it's a regular park bench, but the ends of it are concrete. Anyway, it split her skull open. No, her skin open on her forehead, like to the skull. And you could clearly see the skull. Like, people are like, oh, you see bone and you see something white and it's probably bone. No, dude. You're like, oh, so I guess that's a human skull right there. Like it was just, and she's a little 3-year-old, cutest thing with all this red flowy hair. And like we were really concerned about the scar across her head. They had a pool at this hockey rink too, so the lifeguards came over and gave her some pressure, and the ambulance came. And when we got to the hospital, we waited for a plastic surgeon rather than just having her like stitched back up. There was a lot of attention given to whether or not we beat the kid. Like they had I don't know if they had special services come over, but we were definitely interviewed like separately almost, like to see if the stories matched and what the scoop was with that. And they stitched her forehead up real tight. And for like a year and a half, they didn't want any sun on it. And we had to like put vitamin E or whatever, like to make sure it healed as good as it could. So like there's a section of all of Hope's childhood pictures where she's wearing a hat in every single one of them. She'd be outside swimming in a pool with like a big sun hat on, just looking
I bet
silly.
she's very thankful at this age that you took that very seriously at the time.
Yeah. When she was like 10, it was like, oh yeah, you can't really see it anymore. At 17, like I haven't even thought about it in years. Like you can't see it.
When I was 5, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
When I was 4 and my sister was 3, I whacked her in the head with a fucking gardening hoe. And
as you do.
And they got a plastic surgeon and fixed that all up.
I did something like that too, except it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't malicious. To my younger brother, we were at a friend's house having a pillow fight, very, 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 very close to, I would say too close to the fireplace. And
I see where this is headed.
I smacked and I got like a collateral damage style hit. I was large for my age. I was probably like 8, and I hit my friend and my younger brother.
Bearded.
And my younger brother just like turned in direction and slammed his head right on the corner of the fireplace, and it was at a friend's house. And so of course anytime a kid's hurt at a friend's house, that parent's like, oh my god, we're gonna get in trouble and everything. They're freaking out, like calling my parents and everything. And I remember having to go to the hospital and sit in the room while they stapled his head. And the way you guys describe it, it sounds like you got a lot of those. So I think this was not as bad. It was only like maybe 6 Staples. I don't know what a lot is, but I had to sit there in the room while they were like, "Oh, settle down, no, be quiet," to my younger brother, and they just, which I obviously they get rid of most of the pain, but as a child, having staples put into your head with a bunch of adults looking at you with fear in their eyes, kind of frightening, in a way.
Dude, we were like, you mentioned the friend's house. We were like 26 or 27 or something. We had these little kids. Hope was our little kid, but we had a friend group who had kids Hope's age. And every so often we'd drop the kids off at like one parent and everyone would get a night out, without kids. So it's our turn to watch everybody's kids. And couple number 1 comes by, drops off their boy, everything is cool. Couple number 2 comes by, and we're all friends, right? It's like a friend group. They pick up couple number 1's kid, and they throw him in the air like a dad would do, but the ceiling fan is on. And like it just cracks the kid in the head. And we're all like trying, like, how fucked up is this kid now? Like this is a baby,
Bad.
know? And we're like, do we take him to the hospital or pretend it never happened? Those are
Pretend
the
it never happened.
That's what we went with. Yeah.
Pretend they're like, this guy. Click, 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 click.
When
I thought
when
the
I
kid
was
okay.
like,
go on.
When I was like 15, maybe 16 or 17, somewhere in there, I stood up out of my bed, like I'm gonna get out of bed and I'm like go somewhere, but like for whatever reason, like my bed was always pushed back into a corner or something. I popped up out of bed, stood in the bed, and sort of like was gonna like take 2 steps, hop on the floor, and then sprint through the living room and out of the house or whatever. I stood up into the ceiling fan, which was turned on though, and that blade hit me flush in the side of the head and hit me in the top of the ear. Like it caught my ear, like right in the top quarter of my ear. It dropped me to my bed with so much pain. I can still feel that pain right there in that ear. And I remember laying there, holding my whole head and going, and thinking to myself, I couldn't feel it very well or tell what I was touching because my whole ear was red hot and numb from the pain. But I remember thinking, like, I have a cauliflower ear now for sure, and I haven't fucking ever stepped foot on a goddamn wrestling mat. I'm gonna have one of those ugly fucking cauliflower ears, and I wouldn't even know what I was fucking doing in wrestling. Like I'm gonna look like the guy, and I'm gonna have none of the skills that come along with looking like that. And I was just laying there in my vanity and pain, and just rocking back and forth until it stopped.
That makes me think of. Like those ear injuries can be bad. One of my friends to another one of my friends gave him, when we were like 11 or 12, like a complex about his ears. So my buddy, we were all in the pool hanging out for a day, and the rabble rouser among us, like one of us is like, I was obviously big for my age as I was. The other guy was like, normal size guy, and the third guy, our friend, was very, very small at his age. Like he teeny tiny, didn't looked like he was an 8-year-old almost, but he was our age, like 11 or 12. And we were all in the pool, and the guy to the really small guy snuck up behind him while he was like shooting baskets, and with both of his hands like open, gave him like a real ear boxing, like whap. And that is like I've never had it done to me, thank God, but it's like apparently one of the most disorienting, like makes you feel sick because your equilibrium's off. Like it's just horribly painful and awful, especially
an eardrum.
Yeah, I don't remember if he said, "You ruptured my eardrum," or if that was like him playing it up in later years as we retold the story. But from this day, every once in a while, when we're all hanging out, we're all, 25, 26 years old now, we will still make little gestures to like touch his ears, and he will like get
he's like the retarded brother on There's Something About Mary.
It's not like a, hey, watch it, you guys. Like, I remember the joke. It's like a, don't you fucking touch me. Don't fucking touch my ears. It's funny to watch, but it's just funny. Yeah, it's just funny.
That's fucked, man. I bet that would hurt so goddamn much to get boxed in your ears like that.
You just think, I'm going to give him a goof. And no. But
on that friend topic where you guys are saying, like, your friends are getting hurt and stuff. Well, I had a friend when I was like 9 years old. He went to my house every single day. He was like my best friend. And we were just playing around once in my backyard. And I took up like one of those big snow shovels, like those ones that are like metal. And I just picked it up. And I don't know, we were just joking around, just goofing around. And he ran into it, right? So he hits his lip pretty badly, and then he hit his gums really badly, and his gums like were bleeding everywhere. Like it looked like he was gonna like bleed out or something. It was the most disgusting thing ever. And I've never had a friend's dad get so angry with me. Like, cause his dad came over and I was trying to explain to him, like, it was not my fault. Like your son ran into the shovel. And obviously afterwards, he tried to tell all my friends, he's like, oh no, he hit me with the shovel. And we had this big debate for like the rest of high school where he always used to tell my friends that I hit him with a shovel when I was younger, but I know that I just picked up the shovel. He ran into it, and his dad got so angry with me, he literally yelled at me, like even worse than like my dad used to yell at me. And my dad was really fucking harsh with that stuff, and he yelled at me so badly. Like I never felt so horrible for doing something to someone, but. He eventually recovered. It took him a couple years though. He had a pretty fucked up mouth. He actually fucked up his teeth, I think, for the rest of his life. So I feel really bad for that. I kind of stayed away from him afterwards. Like we were best friends.
Maybe someday you'll have the means to go back and pay for his teeth or something like that.
I mean, it wasn't my fault though. I just picked up the shovel. He ran into it. I know what happened. Okay, he's trying to make me think I hit him with the shovel, but I didn't. But I feel like I actually did fuck up his teeth for the rest of his life, and I kind of feel bad for that. But
yeah, I kicked the kid's tooth out in like I don't know what grade we were in. I came down the slide. This dummy was trying to go up a slide. He like crawling up the slide, and I'll be honest, 6 or 7 year old me didn't have to kick him in the mouth, but there was this little flash in me that was like, I'm going the right way. I have the right of way. All right, so like. You have fucked up, sir. And so I just gave him the double like Power Ranger thing right in the face because he was in my goddamn way and I wasn't going to smush into him. And he never got that tooth fixed. And it was a permanent. Like
permanent?
I saw him years later and he still had that tooth gone. Like it was still, and it was like this one.
Poor Jeremy.
I had a thing.
I said I kicked a tooth out. Not I got him on the ground and stomped his mouth. like the mashed potato on his fucking orthodontia.
Wow. Did he get his feet?
I had a thing with like teeth, like when I was losing them. That like when I discovered it was a thing that like, oh, you're losing your baby teeth, and I saw all my friends like losing their teeth faster than me. Because I was like a few months younger in the grade, and that matters at that age, like the months where you're losing them almost. And I was always thinking, like, if I lose more teeth, it'll mean that I'm growing faster. And so I would take teeth. Like, there were always the kids in class who'd be like, see this tooth? And it'd be like hanging by a fucking thread, and they just would refuse to tear it out. Yeah, like you just easily pull it out. I was the opposite, where I'd be like, oh, that's a little bit of movement. That's a little bit of movement. I basically forced and tore out all 4 of my front teeth here at like age, I don't know, 7 or 8, because I was like wiggling them so hard. And so many of my pictures as a young kid, they'd be like, there's Taylor when he's young, doesn't have any teeth in the front. There's Taylor a year later, still no teeth in the front. Those probably wait about a year or so. Here's Taylor a year and a half later. You can start to see that peak coming down from the front. Like it was very, very
real with his food connoisseur in your younger years.
No, just a lot of side mouth chewing, you know.
I feel like the Boy Scouts had to crack down on the weirdos, right?
I thought they opened up to the weirdos. I thought that was the deal. I thought there were like gay scout leaders that were like, you can't kick me out, I'm gay. And they were like,
I wasn't talking about gay people being the weirdos. I meant like the rapists.
Oh, well, it was this weird coincidence, Taylor. Like the gay people were raping the kids. It was weird.
Oh,
you never.
Well, then,
that.
And if that's the case, then the rapists, that supersedes the gay.
It was gay rape. You know, it wasn't female scout leaders. Oddly enough.
Yeah, I don't think they're allowed. Thank God it wasn't a woman.
There was a guy on Reddit recently, and I guess he had sex in middle school with his teacher. And he's like, it was awesome. Let's just agree that men and women are different, because it gave me confidence through my high school years that I nailed my middle school teacher. And he still thinks back to her fondly.
Of course.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. We're just different, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, in middle school, you'd be like, oh, I want to fuck Mrs. Smith or whatever. But like, no girls were like, ooh, you know, Mr. Stevenson with his bald spot and his way too heavy hair. There was a teacher in middle school, I remember, like, he would walk around like while we were doing work, like, you know, kind of up and down, serpentining through the desks, and he would like randomly stop behind girls. And we're in 7th grade, so we're like 13, and he would like, you figuring that one out? And he'd like give him like a too much of a back rub, and like we just would joke about it. It'd be like, oh, Mr. Dennis is a fucking creep. Did you see him? He was massaging Ashley again. What a weirdo. And it's like no, that wasn't cool. He shouldn't have been doing that. And like he was actively like flirty with these young girls in a way that was even
5
obvious
years
to
later.
13-year-old.
Nobody knows why.
There was a girl that I'm like about 100% sure was fucking one of the teachers in my high school, and he wasn't attractive. He was bald. He had long hair but it was bald on top, so it was just like from the back and sides, and he was overweight, and she was hot. She like. The expression I used as a teenager is she carries a lot of sail for a skinny chick, because she had like
What year was this? I tell you, she's got quite a sail, carrying a good bit of sail around.
But it just
you said that as a kid?
I don't know if I said it out loud, but I thought.
Hey, Woody, get a load of this dame. Oh, God, gee willikers, she's got quite a bit of sail going on for her.
Let's try to nail down what year this was. What was going on in the newsreels?
This would be like 1990. But anyway, yeah. So she had like a banging body and boobs that you would typically only see with augmentation, like and because they. I'm going on and on, but they were wonderful in every way.
Tell me more of this child's test.
They weren't droopy boobs. They were like
they were fresh.
Like she
it was like she was 16 or something.
Right out of
crazy.
the box.
But I went to school with her, so I know that
was.
she got these boobs at like 12 or something. Like they weren't fake. And but at this point she was 16, and I'm about 100% sure she was sleeping with this guy. They would like walk to his car together after school. It got a little brazen, and like. It couldn't have been just an innocent mentorship. They spent way too much time together.
Yeah, they were fucking.
Is she on Facebook, you think? Could you find her now? Find out what was going on?
I know.
See how those have aged.
Yeah, let's see those tips.
Hopefully, hopefully well. I remember.
Sometimes you can find people by their maiden
chicken time
names.
bags. So you never know.
Did you guys ever have those girls in your class in high school that were dating guys way, way older than them, and they thought it was cool? I remember this girl, Emily, I was friends with. We were in the same art class, and so like we would sit there and we draw on stuff in like one of those big square tables. There's 4 of us, 2 other girls and her and me, and we were just chatting, and you know, she starts talking about her boyfriend, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you're dating anybody. Someone here at school? We're 16. She's like, no, he's out of college. He was 23 dating a 16-year-old.
Oh, I got that blown out of the park. 28.
28?
Saying a 28-year-old
Holy
guy.
shit. That's what a ghoul.
What a ghoul, right?
Yeah, that's not and like to see like a 23-year-old pull up to pick up, or a 28-year-old, I'm sure, pulling up to a high school to pick up their girlfriend, it's like that guy's a fucking loser.
We all knew it then too. Like even in high school in 2001, we were like, what a fucking loser. Although
can't get any college pussy.
Like maybe when we get a little bit older, we'll be like, God, he had it figured out, didn't he? At 28, he had the world in his palm. He knew it all.
He was really rolling the dice, and you know, he made it out the other side.
Like he wasn't dating a 17-year-old.
Oh,
I think more or less.
I don't know. Either way,
Either
that
way,
was always weird.
I think 16 is legal in Georgia if he's 28. We go through this a lot, but like,
in 8th grade, I had to return my football helmet because it didn't fit, and I had to get the extra large.
Isn't that the worst pain ever? Did you suffer through wearing a too small football helmet before like someone got you that size?
I was like, man, football really hurts all the time.
Did you go a full day? Did you like do a full practice with a too small?
Probably a week.
Oh my God! It gave me the worst headache I've had in my entire life. I still remember being a kid and being like, "This thing is squeezing my goddamn skull too hard, and it hurts at every like point of my skull right now. It's crushing my skull. Make it stop." And they were like, "Yeah, you get used to it. Get a few good hits in. You won't think about it no more." And it's like, fuck, that's all I can think about because it's my brain.
My brain is in pain. It's totally focused on this.
Our coach was literally retarded. He had been hit in the head with an aluminum baseball bat 5 years prior, suffered major brain injury, and wasn't all there anymore. And he was our coach. He'd forget to give us water. It was outrageous. And like I told my parents, and they're like, "That's football, son. It's a hard." My dad doesn't sound like that, but whatever. He's like, "Yeah, that's football. It's a hard sport." And I was like, "Bullshit."
It's a rootin' tootin' time. Yeehaw. You know, like Kyle's dad sounds, you know.
Yeehaw! He's twirling a lasso as he does it.
I never played football because I didn't hit puberty until super late. And as like 106-pounder, I'm like, fuck football. I have no interest in this.
Anthony, were you a sports guy?
Oh my God. I was so not. I never understood, like, when school would end at 3 o'clock, whatever the hell it was, and I would go to walk to the bus or walk home, and I'd look at the field, the track and the football field and everything, and see people there in uniform doing something. I'd be like, why aren't they going home? Why would you want to stay any later than you had to? You could get home to a television or your friends or toys or something. Never understood it. So I never, ever went out for sports.
I know your dad was a very interesting character. Did he ever pressure you into it, or was he always just the cowboy?
He didn't. I don't think he necessarily equated sports with being a man. Like, he was just very, you had to be a man. Don't cry. Don't do that. Be a man. But it was never a sports thing. He was just more like, if someone's bugging you, pick up a big stick and crack them on the head kind of thing.
That's interesting. So Taylor or Woody, maybe, did either of you ever have a moment where your father had like a be a man type story? Like, you did A and B, and he was like, you should have gotten to C, but you didn't. Next time, be a man. Like, was there anything like that where he didn't he thought you needed to toughen up or do a thing better because you just weren't living up to his potential?
I remember so many times playing goalie in ice hockey, and I would let one in that I probably should have had if I was squared up and playing right, and I'd have to, like, in hockey, like, you're there, so you're a little set. In soccer, the other sports where there isn't plexiglass between you, the parents can yell reasonably loud and you can hear them. Hockey, they have to scream so much that it resonates throughout the arena to get you to hear it. So many times I just remember, like, letting one in and being like, please no, and I'd hear just, get your head in the game. I'd just be like, oh, Dad, that was definitely my bad. But
now you're shaking.
I'm nervous, but that was just the motivation I needed. I didn't need someone to coddle me and say, oh, did that goal go by you? Was that one pretty quick? Like, you wouldn't get any better. You need that tough love sometimes, especially with sports, because sports is a meritocracy, and you need that level of, if somebody does badly in the NFL, NHL, NBA, they don't go, LeBron, have you been feeling depressed again? I know we've discussed this before. They go, hey, this is your fucking job. Get it done. And, I like to think I was good enough at 16 that it applied to me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main focus.
There was never like I wasn't being manly enough. I do remember one time I was being bullied by a group of people, and my father had my brother, who was 2 years older, drive me to school with a baseball bat. And they're like, if they fuck with your brother, you got to hit him with this bat. You do whatever you got to do. And the trouble was, like, I'm not sure we'd win, right? Like, oh, great. You changed it from a 4-on-1 to a 2-on-1, or a 4-on-2. Are we winning now? Like, I don't know. And then, like, the toughest of them was probably equivalent to my brother or something. I know he's 2 years older and stuff, but I'm not getting bullied by pussies, right? Because that's not a problem. I'm getting bullied by big fucking bullies. And
that's the situation.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I'm glad that you gave my brother permission to beat him up and everything, but I don't know that permission was the problem all along. We weren't showing great restraint. Yeah. So, and then, he couldn't drive me home because he went to another school in the afternoon, and it's like, I don't know if this is even solving things because I'm feeling really vulnerable on the walk home here. And
that's like when in World War II, when the P-51s could defend the bombers on the way to the target, but not the way back.
Yeah, perfect.
Now you're just at the.
Yeah, at least I had a bike before where I got home quicker. It was a little tougher to hunt me out in the 12 minutes it took me to get there. Yeah. Now it's like a 60-minute walk home because I don't have a bike anymore, and it's fucking yeah. I think now about like the bullies that I'm sure the bully, there's the same sort of thing. But like, I remember I'd ride my bike home from school, and the bullies would take their car and steer over the curb onto the driveway and come out and I'm like backing up on my bicycle furiously, which isn't very fast, and they're like surrounding me, and now they're like pushing me around. I'm like trying to find that break where I could maybe ride my bike again and get a little distance, and I don't know how this is going to work out. They have a car, but like, nowadays they're like, oh yeah, there's
Were
name
you Forrest
calling.
Gump? This was Forrest Gump's childhood.
So
But he
then
had
I
a
ran
bicycle.
until the braces broke off, and
I wish. I can't run for
running.
shit. Yeah, I'm not built for running. But
Imagine
yeah,
chasing you throwing rocks.
I just like, I don't know. People, let me know. Are people still driving their car off the road onto the sidewalk to bully people? Because my bullies didn't fuck around. But
I mean, if I see a kid who needs a little bullying,
I'll tell you,
that kid isn't as tough as he could be. You pull over, you teach him a lesson, the world's a little better.
That
You know, maybe he cries on the way home.
You guys have all heard me tell this story once where I gave the overhand right. Like I saw it on TV. I hit the guy. We were all in the outside the locker room, like for gym class, and I've told the story like 4 times. I bloodied his nose, and he had a white T-shirt. He was one of the guys in the car, but he was fucking with me without his friends, and that's when I hit him. But so I wasn't like a big pussy or anything. I was just in situations that were hard to deal with. I needed more than permission to beat them up.
Yeah, but your parents were like Anthony. I'm imagining. I know that your dad probably would have given you like a big pat on the back if he heard you got in a brawl and defended yourself. Did you ever have to do something like that?
Yeah, I was. I think I might have told this on this show, but I've told it on my show. I got in a fight with Boomer Esiason, who was the.
How'd that go?
When I was in 5th grade, we were both going to Timber Point Elementary School. He never liked being called Norman even back then. He was Boomer, and his name's Norman. And I called him Norman. One of his friends saw that I was the one that yelled, "Hey, Norman," around the corner and told Boomer, and he was going to kick my ass after school. And we meet up after school. I square off, and I throw a punch right into his forehead. And later I will learn that I broke the ulna and radius. My arm broke on Boomer's head, and he dispatched me quite quickly after that.
How tall was he? How tall was he then?
He was the big fucking guy.
Like 6'5" or something.
Big guy. And he was a bully. He would go around and fart in people's faces in the cafeteria. And he was the gym teacher's pet. Always great at every sport. Played way too hard for some of the kids. Defense, he'd smack people down on the ground. And I knew I wasn't going to win. I didn't think I'd break my arm hitting him.
You thought he'd do that for you.
We did a golf outing a few years ago and brought it up, and it was kind of funny. Did
you remember?
Now, but boy, it was serious then.
Did he remember the whole incident?
Oh yeah. We both.
Oh, that's awesome. Was he surprised that it was you, or did he remember you from school? Like,
yeah. He remembered like everything. It was a very small little community in East Islip, Long Island, and we all used to hang out, ride bicycles together, and shit like that. So, that was strange.
we had 2 elite athletes in my grade. One's name was Doug Coleman. He ended up playing in the NFL for like 6 years or something, close to that. And another one was Pat Lynch, and he was a wrestler. He had like 100, match wrestling or win streak, which is a lot. 100, He won states as a freshman, sophomore, and junior, but not a senior because he went up like 3 weight classes and would just started wrestling with gigantic fucks. And neither of them were bullies in the slightest. I always admired them. I used to talk to God and be like, dude, you should have blessed me with that kind of size because I would be a defender of the small. Like, I would be exactly what you want. Like, these guys were good role models. Like, I'd be a Doug Coleman or a Pat Lynch. I wouldn't be, fucking Howard the Jackass, who was also large. and I just like, man, like I should have been given this size. I would have done good with it. Like done good deeds with it. They
good deeds, yes.
But I wasn't gifted with size.
You think that, right? But
I mean,
maybe
I
you would have used your superpowers.
What? It's hard to say, right? It's. You think the best of yourself, but power corrupts.
So when I was like 14, maybe 14 or 15, something like that. I had this friend named John Scott, and he always had cool shit. His parents got him cool shit. All of his shit was cool. Like this, he had a badass gaming PC. When I didn't even know what a gaming PC was, he was like, I built it myself, and that seemed like rocket science to me. I was like, you built it? You mean you like created the microchips? And,
right,
like,
right.
You know, that's what I'm imagining. I'm like, you forged it? Like,
he puts the welder's mask down and starts welding something. You know, sparks flying.
Yeah. Remember, like Ash versus Evil Dead. He goes back in time and like somehow forges a prosthetic hand. Like, what do you mean you built it? Like, I thought that was so cool. And he was talking about, you know, he had cool PC games. He had Doom and but he also was into paintball. He was that's how I first got into paintball. I think was he was into it, and he had a cool paintball gun. And I was like, I want to play with these guys. That's how I got into it. And he would have paintball tournaments at his house where he'd get, you know, 3 or 4 teams together from the high school and middle school, and we'd all play against each other and have big wars. And his older brother was kind of extreme too. He was into like motorcycles and dirt bikes, and they both had these like extreme hobbies that they both liked, and they went extreme with everything. He was a state championship pole vaulter or something like that. So he was a tall guy. He was like 6'4" and pretty thin. But his brother and himself were extremely competitive at everything. If it was Nintendo 64 GoldenEye, a fist fight might break out, and one night it did. We're just playing GoldenEye, and there's a lot of us there. Like, that was the other thing that was cool. Like, my parents would let me bring like 3 people over. That was kind of it. Like, bring 4 over, and it's kind of a party at that point. This guy would have a dozen kids in his basement, like going crazy down there, going apeshit with zero supervision. Like, it's like a dozen 15-year-old dudes like come over, play paintball for 3 hours, and now we go in the basement, we're playing N64. Something went awry. I don't remember what, but two factions came about. There were the room was split evenly between those who sided with John Scott and those who sided with his brother, and a war broke out that involved darts, real darts, the kind that are sharp. He starts hurling these things back and forth, and so we all take up darts. Some of us don't want any part of it, though. I'm one of them. There's no eye protection. And so a lot of us end up hiding in a room. And so we're hiding in the room, you know, like barricading the door so they can't dart us. Because a few people have been darted and, like, are bleeding. And, like, darts are sticking into the walls and shit. And I don't mean they're like, fuck you, bro. It's like, like hurling these things like they're javelins or something, as hard as they fucking can at each other. And it's mostly John Scott and his brother, but they've each got at least 1 or 2 lieutenants who are down for the cause too. And I'm slinging a few darts myself, if I'm being honest. Anytime I get a chance, I'm trying to poke somebody.
That's self-defense darting.
So we're so my team falls back to the to like recover in this room. A couple of us are holding the door, making sure they can't get in. The door doesn't lock, and they're trying to get in. It's pretty serious. There's screams.
Wait, are you keeping out people who also don't want any part of the darting?
No,
that's what it sounds like.
No. They're trying to dart us. We're keeping them out. And there's people. There's a couple guys holding the door, and then there's a couple guys trying to catch their breath. And it's a basement that's been like.
This isn't the end.
It's yeah. No, this isn't the end, Frodo. yeah, it wasn't Frodo. So this is a basement that's separated by like drywall walls that are only like 8 feet high, and then there's a tile ceiling, you know, like a drop ceiling, because it's higher. So all you got to do is move those tiles out of the way, and you can go up and over the wall. And all of a sudden, it was like that scene from Aliens, where it was like it got quiet, and everybody's facing the door, like ready for them, and then we were like. They're in the ceiling. And the fucking ceiling tiles move out of the way, and darts start raining from the and everybody pours out the door and is running through. Like, one guy went through a window, not through a window, but like goes out a window. There's 3 guys trying to go through a sliding glass door, and you can hear the darts. Clop, clop, clop. It was a dart fight. I didn't get darted. I'm pretty sure I darted a guy in the back. And I definitely saw there were 2 or 3 guys that got darted badly. John Scott had one stuck in him at one point, and he made light of the fact that it was stuck in him, and he thought it was pretty funny. They were hardcore guys. John Scott died right before prom. He was driving a Super Sport Camaro, hit a tree going like 110, 120.
Oh.
Not much left of him. Good friend.
Was he sober?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
driving too fast.
Just driving way fucking really fast. He liked his
like a dart. You were talking about a OCD. I used to be so obsessive compulsive when I was like 12.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and not the way that people describe it where it irritates me, where they're like, I'm so OCD, I can't even survive if the dishes aren't clean.
I prefer my Post-it square to the corner of my desk.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I like my drink carefully placed on a cup holder. It's like you're not OCD. You're just being neat. Like I would have like these like weird like fears in my head, religious based, because I went to that sort of stuff, and I would think like you have to keep everything balanced, or someone in your family is gonna die. Just like an insane thing like that, where like I'd like put my hand on my desk at like the age of like 11 or 12 or whatever, and then I'd have to like do the exact same thing on the other side. Like I would like blink at the exact middle point between electric poles while I was driving in the back seat, like with my mom and stuff. Like a lot of counting things, like having to do things a couple times, like not like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like her trying to keep Charlie alive, Charlie's mom. But man, that was shit.
I have a few.
I have a lot of those.
Tapping and like
I do the same
everything had to be
ones.
balanced. I hated it.
The balance thing, my wife used to fuck with me. She'd squeeze like one big toe, and then just leave it like that, like where one would be squeezed and the other would not have been. And it's like, no, you've got to even this out. That's not okay. If I put a hand on my thigh, I need to put my hand on the other thigh. And even now, like there are a lot, like I'll move my mouse across an app on the screen, and then I come through the middle and move it across the other direction to balance it out. Like it's something that I have too. But to me, it was never like a religious base someone would die. It's just things should be in balance. Like a feeling of incompleteness until I sort it out.
Yeah, mine was like an additional layer, which I guess is why I'm not like that at all anymore. Because I don't think like, oh, if you don't do exactly this, someone's gonna go to hell. That was the fear I had as a little kid. My biggest one. I was like, I was like at 8, being like, how do I know Grandma and Grandpa aren't gonna go to hell? And be like, oh, well, you can't like 100% know until you get there. But like, and
it's okay. I touched both knees.
Yeah, so I touched both knees, so I should see them there. But like, that scared the shit out of me as a kid. Hell, I bought into it hook, line, and sinker, which most kids do at that age, or maybe you guys didn't. I don't know, but you weren't raised religiously, Woody, so that's a little different because I didn't get religious till later in life, right? And then Kyle, were you raised religiously at all?
Yeah, for sure. I had a bunch of tics or compulsions, I guess. I had this weird thing I do with my fingers, where like between my fingers, I would feel like the webbing was like sticking together, and so I'd constantly like do this shit, like
try to unstick it,
unstick it, and I would do this thing with my eyes, where I felt like if my eyelids were kind of like getting stuck together in the corners, I would like make this crazy face where I like open my eyes super wide, and I would twirl my hair, and like obsessively, like just fucking twirl it over and over and over, crazy, and I would crack my neck. I would crack my neck, but not the way I do it now, where now I do like a chiropractic thing that my chiropractor taught me to like actually adjust it. But I used to like do this thing where I'd like twist it and like crunch it, and it would just be crunching in the back of my neck. And now if I do that, it's very painful. So I'm pretty sure I did some damage when I was a kid because I did it so fucking much. I started cracking my knuckles when I watched a Batman cartoon when I was like 9, and I've never stopped, and I can't stop. The feeling of them not being cracked is pretty fucking. I can't I would sit here and be sweating.
Someone is going to hate the fact they just heard us pop our knuckles. Like people get pissed at that.
Yeah. I know. Kitty she can't stand it. Like she'll retch. Like she'll almost vomit if I can string together all 10 knuckles and all 10 toes, she will vomit.
And that's like a grand slam of popping. Getting all 20 of them.
If it like by the time I get to the second hand, she's like, stop, and she's like slapping me on the shoulder. And then I get the toes going, and by the time I get to the second foot, because I can like do them like rapid fire, like the way I roll my hand across my knuckles, I can do that with my toes as well. She'll vomit.
Oh, that's the way. Do you have stuff that you can like? Talking about this, I don't think any of us are that normal anymore.
No, it doesn't seem like that. I have another one.
Go ahead.
I used to make this sound with my mouth, and I was a kid, right? I know I was under 12 because of the house we lived in. So I was little, and I could do it. I sort of put bubbles in your cheeks and go like that. Even now, I find that so seductive that if I like do it once, it's like, don't go back into that rut, Woody. Like, don't do it. Don't go down that road. Like,
Did you enjoy that just now? Did
yeah,
you like that?
yeah. And as a kid, like when I did it, I would hit myself in the head like hard, like a rap on the knuckles, or I give myself a noogie. My parents would see this and they'd be like, "That's good. You keep that up. You'll break a habit."
I would chew the inside of my mouth, like the inside of my cheeks. I would sort of like with my back teeth, I would bite it and like chew off like the loose skin to the point where now I can feel rough places, which are essentially scars there, where I did it so fucking much. And it was all of these things were fucking stress. It was all stress, obviously. Like, think about it. They're all like stress reaction, like related things from fucking elementary school. They're all from the 4th grade. From you cunt, Miss Evans, you 6'3" big bird bitch. Sorry,
Miss Evans, fuck you.
Yeah.
She was such a
Didn't
fucking...
Wings have that? Like a Mr. Lezik or something?
He probably deserved it. That little pudgy bastard was stealing brownies or something.
I used to do something like I'm thinking about this. I haven't thought about this in years. Like all these weird things. Like I used to have super dry lips, like in the winter, I guess. Like, and when I was a little kid, like I would get cracked lips, and like my mom would always hound me, like, you need to use chapstick, you need to use Blistex or some shit, like keep your lips from cracking. And I would do this thing with my lower lip where I'd like stretch it out, like that, and I would make it crack, like split open to the point of it bleeding. Like I remember having a fissure in the middle of my bottom lip, like a huge visible like fault line of where I would re-crack it and re-crack my lip open and re-crack it open, and like it was something like, oh, that hurts, but like I just like I'd feel the tension, like it's about to burst back open, and then it would. And thankfully I don't have a scar on my lip or anything from that, but that was, why did I do that? Why did we do these things? Stress. Yeah,
Stress. It's stress from school. You put these kids in school fucking 8 hours a day every single day, and then they get in fucking trouble if they put Elmer's glue on their hand and made some fucking gloves out of it one day when nobody was doing shit anyway. I'd already glued the fucking squares to the paper, you whore.
One of the snow days in high school, we had some of my friends. I wasn't even with them, but they told me about it later, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. Is they were driving. There were maybe 4 or 5 of them in the car in this big, nice Yukon XL that was one of their parents. They were driving around on Highway 40 around here, and it's a major highway. There was snow on it. They hadn't even like scraped it off yet, and so they were sliding like on the highway, not like intentionally sliding, but like not being that safe. And then one of the kids was like, "You know, what would be hilarious is if I shit out of the open window of this car right now." And he opened the window on the front seat and put his ass out and then just shit. But it was like a watery shit, and it painted the side of the mom's Yukon XL.
And his shit. Anus, I assume.
And he couldn't wipe because they didn't think that far forward. And so he had to sit back into the car. And then one of the back passengers, another buddy of mine, was so grossed out. He's like, he threw up.
He actually threw up. Because his friend had poopy butt. Okay.
Yeah, and so then they had to go to like a waterway, which I don't know if that's everywhere. It's just a car, like heavy duty car cleaning place around here. And they had to go to one that I don't even know how it was open. And they cleaned it up somehow. So
maybe this is not that uncommon a scenario, and Waterway thought ahead.
Maybe it's not. No, we got to stay open. This is prime shit season from drunk high school kids.
Yeah. Was it funny?
I wasn't there. This was all secondhand told to me. Because if I would have been there, I probably would have put a stop to it, because I would have absolutely foreseen the shit smell coming back in the car, which would impact me.
Yeah, I would have foreseen the poopy butt. I instantly saw that coming.
This wasn't a high IQ group of people.
No, it wasn't at all.
Was it his first time shitting, or how does he not understand how that works at that point in his life?
No,
9 times out of 10, maybe more, you need to wipe.
This same group of people did something called the Poop Bandits, where they would go around and do poop. Like they
Poop Bandit was a collection of people?
There were people. There was one person
copycat
in my grade
crimes.
There were copycat crimes. Copy crap crimes. Yeah. And no, there was one main Poop Bandit who was the belle of the ball when it came to being a poop bandit. Like he was the guy who wrote the "ha ha ha, you'll never catch me" in shit on stall doors at school during school hours.
Wow,
like a in and out like a demon's whisper. That guy, you never knew how he did it. But then there was another group that would do like out of school antics, where like they would go and shit on like people's electrical boxes at their house. One of them pooped in some old man who they didn't like through the moonroof of his Lexus once. They shit in there, which that one, first of all, you've made enemies with high schoolers, old man. Close your moonroof. Second of all, come on, don't shit in a man's car.
Well, the moonroof is sealed, right?
Yeah,
Is that the difference?
a moonroof only tips open, so maybe it was a sunroof.
Oh, then I don't know the difference. Sunroof then. Whatever the kind is that slides.
Oh God.
So yeah, that was a degenerate group of friends, and I haven't been in touch with them for a while. But
you should circle back and see how they're doing. I wonder how those kids turned out.
I'm gonna shoot them a text. And see
I hope they like it.
Did you guys have weird groups of people in your high school like that who did off the wall, like wildly inappropriate pranks and antics?
Not like that. We had stink bomb problems in our school. People,
oh my God.
You could bring like a little glass vial, kind of, and they'd put it on the stairs between periods, and then you could barely understand how crowded the hallways were as people switched classes. It was just like sardines. I think even more so than in most schools. So anything you put on the stairs would get stepped on. And that was what would trigger it. So the person who placed it there was long gone by the time the smell happened. And stink bombs are super effective. It happened all the time.
They have something now called liquid ass.
Okay.
That you can spray, and it's that same effect. And I've heard, I mean, I'm way too old to be, cavorting with high schoolers now, but I've heard that's made quite a stir with high school kids. So
yeah, there's this weirdo that calls into my show every once in a while who loves liquid ass. He can't stop. He sprays it on all his neighbors' doors. He's really infatuated with.
How old is this guy?
40-something. He's 40
what a
something.
Maniac.
Yeah, he's a maniac. I don't think we had any pranksters at my school. It was everyone drove off campus for lunch, so there wasn't a lot of idle hands. Playing pranks.
That would have been a good system to help our school. Yeah.
I remember there was a guy when we graduated who was going around lighting people's pants on fire. Like in the last when everybody had those frayed jeans look, the gigantic jeans that were all frayed in the bottom.
Yeah,
he would army crawl under picnic tables and light the frays on fire. And one time he went too far, and the guy's pants actually caught on fire and started going up him. And this dude, not too far away, kind of like a triangle from where we were sitting, he stands up and he says the guy's name is on fire. And he goes, "Oh shit, this motherfucker's on fire!" And he grabs a Coke and throws it at him. Hits him right in the neck with a full Coke, a sealed Coke can.
That's a can. Oh. Wait, it's a can of Coke.
I don't know what he thought, if it would explode on impact like a water balloon, but all I know is I hear a guy's on fire, and I look up, sure enough, the guy's on fire, and then another guy just pelts him with a full pressurized soda can.
Now you have two problems.
Wow. Well, not that guy's day, I guess.
Oh, that guy's I like to think that he saw his opportunity and he took it.
I like to think that too. I've always secretly thought that my whole life, that he always wanted to throw a Coke at somebody, and he saw that guy on fire and just said, fuck it. No one will think that enough people will buy this. Enough people are dumb enough to buy this. And
I thought it was open.
I had this. So I'm a freshman in high school, right? And I'm nervous, and I'm super small. We've talked about that in a million different ways, but it's relevant. I'm not even through my first day yet. And I'm in this like study hall or something, and I'm sitting next to these two older girls in high school. They're juniors or seniors. And they spot me as fresh meat to like tease and fuck with.
Oh.
So
how big were their tits?
They look, good enough. They were good enough for like that version of me. Anything would have done. And I remember them telling me like I don't know, like sex happened all the time, and they made this innuendo that they'd have a 3-way with me, but they're like, I bet you don't even know how to have sex with 2 women at one time. Like, what position would you use? And I'm too nervous to like think something up, but I still wonder. I thought about this last night. Was there some way I could have played my cards right? Right? Like some way that I could have been like, I've got a couple ideas. Do you want to meet me behind the bleachers? Like, was there any universe where these girls making fun of my sexual inexperience could have been turned around to generate my sexual experience?
I mean, you could have said something like, usually I sleep with pretty girls.
No, that's not that wasn't the goal, Taylor.
Oh no, I was meaning like just to like make a laugh, because you're clearly not going to bang him anyway. You may as well get a laugh.
That's
out of
the
it.
question right now. Look, if there's a 97% chance they won't fuck me, there's a chance they will. Right? Incalculable, but there's a chance.
That's your Groundhog's Day, Woody. You could just if you had your time stop power, fuck being an NHL goalie, you can just relive this day over and over and try to fuck those 2 chicks in your study hall.
How would my universe have changed? Like what if
you would have been cool, like super cool immediately.
You'd be the principal of the school.
I just like if I had been slick enough. These girls are making fun of me. Like, I bet you don't even know what a 3-way with 2 girls would be. And in my head, I'm not saying anything clever, but I'm like, dude, I got like 5 ideas right now, like, you know, that we could do different sequences and positions and such. And but I didn't say that. I didn't say like, let me show you.
Like,
I didn't.
Like, it just seems like it'd be a good opportunity just to keep them talking. Like, just ask, like, well, it depends what you're okay with one another. Like, and see if they're down to make out or eat.
Kiss each other right now, you fat hoes.
Yeah, kiss each other right now, or
try it,
or you
can always walk it
just
back.
Give it a go. Or you're a liar. You're a liar. Wait, are you telling? And then you turn it on them and you go, "You guys had a threesome and you didn't even kiss each other." That's hilarious. That's embarrassing.
You guys are better at this than 46-year-old Woody, but the chasm between you and 13-year-old Woody is so huge.
What would we tell him if we just had one message to give him, like the Flash, Justice League?
That's what you do.
That shit happened to me in 1st grade. A version of that I'm remembering now as you're telling that story. These 2 chicks, I don't know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
My memory of it is so dim. They were asking me if I knew what a husband and his wife do. And I remember like sitting on the playground and praying that the bell would ring because I did not want to know what the fuck they were talking. I was like, oh God, can the bell just please ring? I'm tired of this conversation. And it was 2 of them. I remember they're giggling. It was a redhead and a blonde girl, and they were asking me if I wanted to do what a husband did to a wife with them. And I blew it, I guess.
Yeah, that was your moment. You would have been
my moment.
Fastest to fuck in your class. I can go one earlier.
It's just a fuck.
I was a kindergartner, and I was dating the hottest chick in all of any of the kindergarten classes. The thing is, we're in kindergarten, and she didn't really know how to show affection. So she did, I presume, what her grandparents did to her, and she pinched my cheeks inappropriately hard and told me I was cute, and she just pinch them, say I was cute, and I didn't like it, but I was like, I am dating the hottest chick in all of kindergarten, so I just tolerated it until we drifted apart.
Yeah, I'm dating 4 out of 6. We haven't learned numbers yet, but she's high up there.
You rank girls on a 6 scale.
She's really good.
She's a 3 out of a 700 billion.
I remember unironically having a conversation in kindergarten where like someone asked me, they're like, Taylor, what would you do if you had $100? And I was like, I mean, I'd buy a house, I'd buy a car, I'd buy the blues. I'd buy, and then like someone was like, do you think Jared's parents have $100? And everybody's like, no, $100. I don't think so. No, none of our families have $100. But like, it was just that like that number. I got in trouble the first day of kindergarten for saying penis. I was told that was, my mom was like all about not using wee words. She's like, no, we're a mature family, and Taylor, yes, it is your penis. And then it somehow came up the first day of kindergarten where someone said like wee, and I was like, no, penis. Like your penis. Like I go to school now. I'm a big boy. Big boys say big boy words like penis. And then I got taken out into the hallway by my teacher, and she's like, you can't be saying that. And I was like, once again, I am a big boy. I say big boy words. I want to say penis. And then she's like, well, not in this classroom, Taylor. You have to be behaved. I never tried to be a disruptive student. Like when I was very young, it just ended up that way because it was way more fun to talk and chat and like go play with the Jenga blocks, like knock somebody's Lego fort down than it was to learn how to read. I was in the special class for learning to read for a full year in first grade. And it took me like the fucking Hooked on Phonics annex where I was there with another kid who didn't give a fuck and then 2 actual retarded people. And I remember I showed up there one day and they're like, all right, Taylor, well, your teacher's been saying that your reading workbooks, you're just memorizing all the words and repeating them. And you're not actually learning how to read. And I was like, well, reading, who's going to use this? And then I started doing the reading thing, and I shouldn't have been in that class because they were telling me to like do the P sound, do the T sound. I'm out of the park all day. But I also got starburst. Every time I gave a right answer, I got candy. And so I stayed in that class the whole year. And then next year I went to second grade reading like a champ, and that bitch who did her bullshit Hooked on Phonics training took a bunch of credit, I'm sure, about getting me from stone cold retarded to able to read. But really, it was a candy grift the whole time. Taylor, do you want candy or a sticker? Candy again, bitch. I didn't just give you a CH sound out of the park to not get a pink starburst. Yeah. But it was depressing to have to be in there with those 2 retarded kids all the time.
Speaking of retarded kids,
oh, go ahead.
No, you got your
They've
face.
got your face in a case study somewhere. This is her method.
This is
training a retarded kid how to read.
This case study thing is so funny because just my little fucker me. I volunteered for a while at an autistic school when I was in high school, like just to help out and everything. Yeah. And one of the times they were telling me, they're like, hey, we need you to organize files from like the late 80s to early 90s. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's kind of nice to not be around the kids who are freaking out. This wasn't like kind of autistic. This was like, we'll scream and tackle you kind of autistic. And like very sad actually. And I went in there and started organizing, and I came across a file. And it had a name I recognized. Oh, this is that girl that went to our kindergarten, but she never showed up at first grade. Huh, that was weird. And I remembered how much, poor fucking Kimmy, because everybody, even in kindergarten, they don't know what mental disabilities are. They'd be like, Kimmy's fucking weird and she's eating boogers. Let's laugh at her. Ha 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 ha. Oh, Kimmy can't figure this out. She can't do that. Ha ha ha. Turns out Kimmy, severely autistic and had to finish up her run at this autistic school. So found that out about 16 years later. So, there you go.
Hopefully she got some starburst.
No, probably not. They were not giving out candy at that retard camp, autistic camp. Yeah.
I was a retard in high school, so I had to go to summer school, like to stay. I guess I failed English, maybe? I forget. But they made me go to summer school so that the next year I would be taking English with the kids that were my grade. And I was in there with this famous guy's daughter. It was Tug McGraw. Tug McGraw had just won
the pennant. What is baseball's thing called with the Phillies?
The World Series.
The World Series. That's what I'm going for. He had just won the World Series. He was just like, he was kind of a big name at the time in the area. And I was there with his daughter, and she was a bigger fuck up than me. And she always missed summer school. And that was like baffling. Like, even at my level of irresponsibility, I'm like, dude, we're in summer school. If you fuck up here, I'm not even sure what's next. Like, what's lower than summer school? Juvie? Like, what the fuck happens if you don't pass summer school?
That's a good question. Well, if you don't pass this, we're sending you back to school in the fall. It's
like, but it's like, it's time to show up. And this couldn't be easier. It's pretty much attendance based. You just roll in here, listen, and they pass you. That's how summer school works. And she's like, man, I didn't have any money for tolls. And he's like, tolls are 35 cents. You don't have 35 cents to your name? You're cutting it pretty close. I know your dad's a multimillionaire. He's not giving you a quarter and a dime to get to summer school? Like, why are you really not here? And
what a terrible excuse for her living situation that people would know about.
Right? So I just looked her up. Apparently she's like an inspirational speaker now or something, encouraging people to reach for their dreams. She's on Twitter. And
what's her name? Or
her name is
I don't have to say it.
You don't. Tug McGraw only has one daughter, Carrie Velarado. And yeah, she's on Twitter. Heaven's not that far away. Is that a pro-suicide message? I don't know if you're getting what you're going for on that. But yeah, I just looked her up, and it's like that's the chick I went to summer school with, huh?
Oh, that's funny.
Carrie Velardo, you sneaky bitch.
But I don't know. Maybe it's a tough upbringing. Like, I assume Tug McGraw was busy, probably traveled a lot. She doesn't have her dad's last name. There might have been something complicated in that relationship. Who knows?
The fuck is this bitch's channel? She can't even. There's no way she has even enough followers to be found. Goodness gracious, she can't be that good of a motivational speaker.
I'm going to her Twitter now. I didn't even think to look at how many people follow her. 47. 47 people follow.
No, now we're cyberbullying.
I didn't even realize.
I was assuming she'd be like one of those like big toothed evangelical guys who's got like 10 million followers.
Yeah, that's what you want.
When I looked at her tweet, she's like, "This is my girl," and she's on some stage doing like famous, and it's like her dad's baseball days. And
Was there a day that you dreaded more as a young kid when you knew that you had been misbehaving in class? And I was always like loud in class, like talking with friends and being kind of a smart mouth and stuff. And I would always dread that. I'm gonna be like, all right, we're going to your parent teacher conferences, just sitting at home trying to distract myself playing like Pokemon Snap on the N64.
Yeah, we had a different viewpoint there. I didn't give a fuck.
Well,
my dad,
Dad
Dad was on my team when he went in there with that 6'3" cunt Miss Evans, 4th grade teaching fucking whore of a bitch.
You had a 6'3" woman be your teacher?
Yeah,
Dude,
Miss Evans, you fucking cunt whore.
My 5th
Big
grade
ups
teacher,
to Miss Evans.
told my parents,
"Hope you get the corona, you old whore."
Bet you're already dead, bitch.
I hope it hurt.
I hope a tiger kills you.
I hope you have a car accident and the gasoline's dripping and you're all bloody and trying to crawl out, and then that wire that you always see in the movies, like like sparks,
that live wire.
Yeah, and then you burn up like a fucking in a towering. Oh, you guys won't get that.
I hope she has enough time
inferno
to experience fear when she sees her inevitable.
Oh
demise.
yes, I want there to be lots of fear. She was a real bitch. She didn't like me. It was clear. It wasn't. She was like
so much to like.
There was a parent teacher conference once because I flushed a urinal with my foot.
What?
4th grade.
Everybody
They're covered in
flushes
piss. They're
public
covered in
toilets with their
piss.
foot.
And I
exclusively do that.
He flushed the urinal with his foot. Dad's like, I just went in there and took a piss myself. I did too. Have you been in there?
Where I played ice hockey, they were always ripping off because people flushed them with a fucking skate.
Oh yeah, so they're just kicking it way too hard. I've said it before on the show, so I'll keep it fast. But I remember I didn't get in trouble for it because no one ever found out. But I still remember first day of fucking kindergarten. going in, asking if I could use the bathroom, going to the bathroom, going in a stall to pee, because for some reason I don't think I had urinals in there, and going in and just pissing all over the top of the toilet and the side walls of the stall. And in my head, I'm 5 years old. My head thought over and over was, big boys do what they want.
This is how big boys pee.
I remember my mom just always pumping me up and being like, oh, you're a big boy now. You're going to kindergarten. And I was like, I took that to heart, and I was like, hell yeah, big boys do what they want. Even like shortly, I got scolded the first day of kindergarten for saying penis. I got taken out in the hallway, and Mrs. Masterson, I think it was, came out and like told me we don't say that word here. And I was like, penis. And she's like, yes, Taylor, I know it's your first day, but you do not say that.
I just remember like Anthony.
Fine, bitch, I'm gonna go piss all over the walls like a big boy.
I want to jump in. It's funny that you guys all have this idea that your teachers were assholes. Like Kyle's dad came in there and said they're wrong. It's okay to.
No, it was me.
It was the consensus. It was the teacher.
Year after
Oh,
year,
no, I have more examples.
It was me.
Year after year, all of my teachers like. It wasn't that I was okay. My second grade teacher literally thought I was retarded, might belong in special needs classes. My fifth grade teacher said, he seems smart, but he's the worst student I've had in 32 years of teaching.
Wow, a record.
Yeah, right. I just didn't get on with the program. Like they'd want me to do things, and I just choose not to.
Yeah, I would finish my work, and then there would be nothing else to do, and then I'd have to entertain myself. So like we were doing some kind of project with glue, right? We're gluing fucking shit on poster board, and I had seen this thing on the internet, or the internet didn't exist then, so I don't know, on TV or something, where you put glue on your hands and it dries and it makes those gloves,
yes.
And you sort of peel off the glove, and so I was doing that. Parent-teacher conference. Gotta have a parent-teacher conference because I'll put glue on his hands. Meanwhile, Anthony's in the floor rolling around in front of the door on the mat, being ignored because he just wants attention. Meanwhile, Anthony's now in prison for a hammer kidnapping, and I only did 2 months.
Teachers suck it, Anthony. What were you going to ask, Richard? To me?
If you kept any of your report cards or anything, because that was something that I love going back. Like anytime I go back home or hang out with family or whatever, is going through some of those old report cards. Like same situation where the teachers were like, I completely hated this one teacher, Miss Birchfield or whatever, but it was just like, Richard's such a smart student, but he insists on talking to other kids in the class. Across the classroom during class, and I'm like, whatever. I know I used to get in trouble so much that I had a desk in the principal's office, Mr. James. It was really funny because I knew nothing about sports, but by the time I left elementary school, because he was a Kentucky alum, I knew everything about Kentucky basketball because I had a desk in there and he had like all these just programs and stuff like that, which is just kind of funny. It was it wasn't the worst experience for me, but I remember that just kind of sticking out because we'll go through the report cards and everything and just look at the behavior.
That'd be. I wish we had done that. I do know this. And I've said this before, but so we got 4 report cards a year, and then every quarter there'd be a midterm thing, and you'd only get updates if they're called deficiency reports. So if you were on track to fail something, or if you were exhibiting some sort of problem, they'd send you a deficiency report. That meant I never went 1/8 of a school year without some sort of negative feedback from my classes. Every year, my entire life, certainly through all of high school, but more than that, 8th grade and shit, always, every 8th of a year, they'd be like, Woody fucking at school.
Damn. See, I probably got in trouble at school less than any of you overall, serious trouble. I don't think I got detention a single time.
No
middle school or high school. Never got suspended.
Oh,
ever.
yeah.
I did not get suspended. I would get in trouble for just talking in class and being loud, and that was mostly just a shut up, Taylor kind of thing. I remember I got a pink slip once, which was you get 2 of these and you get detention, and it was because the Spanish teacher sent me and this girl out and was like, I forgot, Senor Taylor, Senora Christine, will you go get the flashcards out of the last class I taught in? And we went out and something like got a hair up, whatever. I don't fucking know. I didn't learn
Senora
anything in that class.
would be like Mrs.
I absolutely sat next to a kid that knew Spanish really well and looked off of his test every single time. And she had to know because I was turning in fucking 94% tests and my homework basically in English. I remember I was leaving that class and I was with that girl and I was like, hey, let's walk as slow as we can so that we don't have to go back to Spanish. That sucks. And so we were like walking like heel to toe, taking steps back, like taking forever. There's nobody else in the hall. We go back past the 9th grade history teacher, the ancient or American history room, whatever it was. And he saw us like lollygagging and we weren't even in his class. He got mad and he came out and scolded us for walking so slowly and wasting school time. And he told her that this was a warning. And then he went into his office and wrote out a pink slip for me. And usually the way pink slips work is he would write it and then give it to the administrator who would log it. This retard gave me my own pink slip and told me to give it to the woman administrator
to be
downstairs.
Seen again.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, Mr. Johnson, I will bring it to her. Never happen again. Walk around the corner, threw that away. I'm not getting myself in trouble, you lazy fat fuck.
High school, new level.
The only time I got a pink slip, I didn't actually get one. So there you go.
It's funny.
I had so many detentions. To me, that's just how long school was.
Yeah, school from 8 to 4:30. Yeah,
Dude, I was talking about elementary school earlier. Like you want to talk about high school? That's hilarious. Because so I went to a really large public high school in Northwest Georgia, and it's huge. It was the combination. They took three public high schools and combined them into one, and it was a really, really long haul. Did you guys have Channel 1 News?
Yep.
With Anderson Cooper,
Everybody
Lisa
did. Oh,
Lee,
yeah.
and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So Channel 1 News would play first thing in the morning for the first 15 minutes of school. And I had chemistry I think it was my freshman or sophomore year, and Channel 1 would be playing for homeroom or whatever for 15 minutes. And I would always show up with 2 chocolate iced, cream-filled donuts and like an orange juice or whatever. And I would give one of the donuts to the teacher, Mr. Selvage. And so I came in, I'm just obnoxious. And I walk in and it's a good football field, maybe 150, 200 yards down at the very end of the hallway. And I'm just singing some Ja Rule at the top of my lungs going, who da, trying to get up my barbecue. And he comes out of the office, he goes, Ryan, get your ass in the office. And I go, but Mr. Salvage, I got donuts, screaming like 150 yards down the hallway, but I got donuts. He goes, get your ass in the office. I go in the office and the principal is just like, hey, what's going on? I was like, Mr. Salvage didn't want his donut. It's like, I'm going to go play basketball. Is that cool? He's like, yeah, all right.
Even your mean-spirited stuff was you trying to share.
Yeah, it's true.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about high school. So all those weird people that you forget exist until you really. Do you ever do that in Buck? I mean, I'm not that much younger than you or Kyle, but like just think sometimes, and then a face will pop up of some weird fucker that you went to high school or middle school with. And you're like, holy shit, I wonder what they're up to. I did that with one guy I used to play hockey with, not on my high school team, on a different team, and he was in jail for heroin dealing.
Jackie has a high school bully. Jackie went to an all-girls Catholic school, and this was a big girl. I don't know. She was a big girl. She's kind of...
Big old bitch.
What celebrity would you say she looks like?
Roseanne.
Queen Latifah or Roseanne?
Somewhere in the middle. She spoke Spanish. And big, strong girl, a couple years older than Jackie. Jackie's a beanpole of a person. And she was mad at Jackie for something she didn't say or do. She eventually learned that she was falsely accusing her, and that's how the whole thing ended. But she tormented her on the bus for a long time. Anyway, that woman's dead now, and she died an early death, obviously. And Jackie still is like, fuck yeah. She's very pleased that woman is just dead.
Yeah, burn in hell, you whore.
Yeah.
I remember a fight in middle school. These two dudes got into it, and the guy like WWF like flipped him upside down and pile drived him on the asphalt, completely paralyzed him. It's like you think about shit like that happened in school, and it's like
over, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's weird
It's
how
nuts.
people can be so
Really took
durable,
an L.
right? You play football, MMA, whatever, nothing happens, and then a bump in the wrong way, and lives are changed.
What little asphalt pile driver bump, and you're
You probably saw it
All
on.
an asphalt pile driver away from paralysis. If you think about it.
You probably saw the Reddit
Shocking,
video where the
right?
guy went for a flying armbar, and it didn't work. Like he kind of landed here, and he lets out this scream. It's
I saw that. It was
indescribable.
wrestling, wasn't it?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And yeah, he was going for a flying armbar, and he kind of just slid down the guy's arm. He didn't get it right. Landed it here, and just was like, ah! And then he couldn't move. He was paralyzed.
Screaming. He broke his fucking neck. I saw that.
Oh,
He's
Jesus.
screaming. He's
I don't want to
screaming.
watch that. That's scary.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Anthony
another-
Cumia tells a story about because some kids will like torture animals. It's a normal part of growing up.
Yeah.
And I'm joking. I didn't do that to you.
Evolution.
Yeah.
And like on an old O&A show, he's like, yeah, I had a crossroads where I could have become a serial killer. I was like maybe 7 years old, and I caught this lizard, and I just wanted to kill it, this little lizard. And so I took the top of a soup can lid, and it was all sharp, and I just rolled it over the middle of this lizard and cut it in half. And I still remember it going, and he was like, and that's the moment that if I would have liked that, I would have been killing people, I would have been murdering. But what I actually did is I went home and I cried and I cried and I cried because I killed that lizard. And I was like, wait. Just the fucking primal shriek. No, that was a good one.
I
remember shooting a squirrel like that.
I have some AMA questions.
Soup lid. Yeah.
Go ahead, what you got, Kyle?
Cereal box.
I was in fucking retard reading class in kindergarten.
Were you?
Because and it's so funny because like by second grade I loved reading and I figured it out, but they had like these little picture book things. I've told this either on my channel or on the show years ago. And you know how it would be like Jack rides a bike. The bike is red. The red bike goes fast. That kind of shit. I just remembered all the stories and would memorize the stories instead of learning how to read. And then one day when the teacher brought out, Susie's purple picnic basket or whatever instead of Jack's red bike, I just second nature thinking about playing with Connects or whatever in the corner again, started saying the wrong book. She caught me, realized I hadn't learned how to read at all, sent me to the retard class. It was me and two other people. And I realized immediately at the age of 5, I was like, I do not belong here. But I did get like a couple months of so many candies and treats because if you could read the word stuff in there, that bitch was, oh, Taylor, that is so good. You're improving so much. And I'm just sitting there like, may I have another strawberry? And so I got so many treats. And then she eventually moved me back out of there when I did learn to read. So, I spent a few months in the retard Sylvan Learning Center.
I'm telling you, what you did in elementary school is basically how I go through my life. Low expectations. I always listen. I want people thinking I'm dumber than I am. You know what? You know what they don't expect from the dumb guy? Anything. Guys, set the expectations for people on you lower. So that way they don't expect anything smart. And when something does come out, they're like, oh, okay, look at that. That's been always been. I'm like I want people to think this is the best I can do. So even when I just do a little bit over, they're like, good job, buddy. You did a good job. I think
none of those kids in the normal class were getting treats when they read the sentence. No, we were all learning the same way, but I got treats.
I had
All
the opposite
because-
experience, Taylor. Yeah, I've told this before, but it cracks me up. So, at my schools in the school system, we got report cards 4 times a year, but then we got midterm deficiency reports 4 times a year. So 8 times a year, we got some sort of negative feedback about my school progress. I never went even a quarter with, or half a quarter without my parents getting some sort of, Woody sucks at school. And I'm in like 10th grade or so, and my mother is bringing this up to me. She's like, Woody, what is going on here? Why is it that you never make like even a few weeks without me hearing about how you're failing some class or another? And I was like, 3rd grade, I kicked ass. And she goes, huh? She thought you were retarded. I fought to keep you. I fought to keep you in regular classes in 3rd grade.
She had to sleep with your teacher, fucking
Forrest Gump style.
You're just sitting out there, post on the front porch, and she's getting railed out by some stinky, sweaty superintendent.
She was enthusiastic about my education.
Mama's just up there keeping me in school.